in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. I've been driving this train, Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, oh, la 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 la. 'Cause I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, oh, and I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, oh, la 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 la. La 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 la. I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game.
Yes, good people. Big up to all of you. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular evening. We had to schedule an emergency show to talk about the situation. Mauricio Pochettino is gone. A lot of Chelsea fans don't want him gone. Some want him gone. Not a lot, actually. I think this month of late, we did put up a poll, and the poll showed. Just give me 1 second here. I had to take care of something. The QR code is the wrong one there. The poll showed that majority of Chelsea fans now want him to stay, and I think that comes down to how we finished the season. But here's the thing: as much as I believe there are solid reasons, I think. The owners should give him a chance. That made me believe the owners should have given him a chance. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that a lot of people are just judging him based on 5 games. But beyond that, there are other reasons why I believe that the owners should have given him more time. But that's by the way. So today we'll talk about Mauricio Pochettino, nothing but Mauricio Pochettino. And if we have time enough, we'll talk about potential replacement. But without wasting much of your time, we'd like to keep it interactive here. So I'm going to go straight to discussing some of the items we have lined up, some of the comments in the chat here to see what the people are saying. Let me go up, and Vic is the first one. I've read that and I've said hello to you, Vic. I hope you're doing well. And we have this comment here from my bro from Keeping It Real Chelsea. Big up, coach. Not happy with the choice, to be honest, considering how we ended the season. As if I knew you had that in the chat already. I don't think I think it's I'm not sure how else to phrase it to come across effectively. I don't think it'd be all right to judge him just based on the how we ended the season alone. I think there are other factors. As much as I think he should have been given more time, that's based on other factors such as us having at least us averaging 8 players out at the same time throughout the entirety of the season. The fact that we have an entirely new squad, the fact that we have a very young squad, inexperienced, which led to us experiencing the lack of consistency we did experience under Mauricio Pochettino. I don't think it just makes sense to judge by 5 games. I'm just going to keep saying that, but I understand where you're coming from. But this all depends if the ownership would choose the correct replacement with that shortlist. I would not be on it. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this. As much as I don't want to believe that the short list is correct, I'm concerned that chances are it is correct. But whatever happens, I hope they do the right thing. There's a first for everything. You never know. Chances are they end up selecting a manager who hasn't won anything, and he joins Chelsea and start firing on all cylinders. But I hope they go for a proven manager. I think that will reduce the risk that we're going to be dealing with going into next season. But that's just my opinion anyway. Let's hear you. But thank you so much for finding the time to join me, bro. I mean, we have in the house, we have CFC Stephen. Yo, big up to you too. I hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. Then Hag in, no Pochettino. I think Pochettino, you guys, chances are your club will hire him, but I don't know. Emmanuel Agierman says, watching you from Qatar. I appreciate you joining the show, Emmanuel. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join us, and big up to you. No Pochettino, go tell your club. I hope you guys hire him. More likes, people. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go along with. We are just how many minutes into the show? 13 minutes into the show. We have 8 likes, but I believe we should be doing way, way better than that. And Jerry Z is in the house. It's at that time of the year, he says. Yep, a serious time. You can say an important period of the year. And I know. I believe you understand where I'm coming from with that particular comment right there. Let me get my coffee. Yep, waiting for you. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's hear how you feel about the situation. Don't know how to feel it after a couple of hours. Let's see. And big up to you too, Rich Money Makers. Rich Money Makers, I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. I want a top manager and not the Brighton manager. I don't want the Zervi. I don't want the Brentford manager. I don't want the just promoted manager. They have to go for an elite manager. And I hope they do that, because the truth remains, if they go for an unproven manager, the risk of finishing mid-table or not getting into top 4 remains. But let's see what they do. As much as I don't want to believe that the list we've seen are all absolute husdunk, chances are Yeah, they are correct. Big up to you too, Courtney. Nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular evening, not morning. I think I've said morning several at this time. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. Is this live? Yes, Mr. Chigoze, it is live indeed. And if you want to come onto the panel, just let me know. And the Rich Money Maker saying I am on 7. Just go away. Better be careful. Better be careful, Rich Money Makers. Easy on the sugar, man. Easy on the sugar. And Courtney here, let's see what Courtney has to say. They won't get any top manager. This board has to prove me wrong. I hope they prove us wrong, because my concern is that if they get an unproven manager, the risk remains, and which means we'll be going into the coming season with the risk of the not being too sure of how well the manager will do tactically and otherwise. But I'm not sure how to feel right now about that. But in terms of the manager, the fact that they've sacked the manager, I've moved on. Just like this. I survived the sacking of Carlo Ancelotti, who won us a double, the sacking of Jose Mourinho on 2 occasions, the sacking of Thomas Tuchel. These things happen. That's how I see it. Managers come, managers go. And yeah, Chelsea will always be Chelsea. You must feel feel what for what? And let me see. Yeah, it's all opinions, my brother. Fair enough. But why are they looking at a freshly promoted and even relegated company? Who would you like as new manager, and who do you think the board will sign? I'm sorry, but I do not know. I just have to be honest. I do not know, and I think you've heard me say, as much as I'd like to believe that the short list that I've seen, it's absolute horse dung. Chances are it is correct. In all honesty, chances are, but I'm not sure what to believe. Hansi Flick, as much as I think he will struggle in the Premier League. I'd say I'd rather him than any of the names that I've seen. What's the other guy that has said no to Bayern? I think tactically, I think he's excellent too. Um, Amorim, I'd say, okay, yeah, if those are the options, that I'd rather Amorim or Hansi Flick than any of the other names that are being mentioned. It just doesn't make sense, because if you bring them in, the risk will still be there. And hopefully they prove me wrong, but I'll see. Big up to you, Ike. I see it's been a minute. I'm quite sure you haven't been part of the show for like 1,000 years right now, but hopefully the case is that you've been busy, or maybe the show uh, airs at the time when you are usually busy or at work. But always nice to see you here. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. How do you feel about the situation? We are finished. I don't think we're finished because we fired the manager. Here's the thing. I don't think we're finished at all. As much as I wanted them not to fire him in a hurry, because the truth remains, there are no. I don't. Maybe until proven otherwise, I don't see any other manager out there capable of nurturing young players as much as we've known, as much as record has proven that Mauricio Pochettino is capable of doing. I wanted them to give him at least one more season. I think that would have gone a long way for us. But yeah, they decided to let him go for reasons I don't know. I had a lot of questions with regards to his tactical capabilities. But we gone past that right now. I want to hear how you feel, people. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. I have a very unpopular opinion about this news. I think it's going. It's a good thing. A lot of people will see it that way. One way you could argue it's a good thing. One way you could argue, um, some would tell you that it was a mistake to have fired him. Some would tell you it was the correct decision. I've always thought that he isn't the manager for the job long term. But right now, yeah, maybe to help nurture the young players that we have. But we'll see whether what they do next will determine whether it was a good idea or not. What's the expectation for next coach? A top 4 and a trophy. That's a huge pressure on Thomas Frank or McKenna. If we end up hiring either of the two, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We don't even know. We don't even know the reason why they've decided to let Mauricio Pochettino go, or why both parties have decided to go their separate ways. We don't know. But yeah, let's see what happens. We'll pay attention. He was sacked because Poch wanted 15% say. How are you able to quantify that and put it in percentage form? That's unbelievable. Since on the new transfer, I don't believe that, man. And that's hilarious, really. I have to be honest with you. I don't trust Wayne Stanley. I don't trust any of them either. Let's see anything else. I'll come to you in a bit. A tie, if you don't mind. Is that tie? Yep, that's tie. Let's see what else we have. You keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I said hello to you, and we have IB here. IB saying that Coach Bayern have called all previous managers to come back, but Flick just but Flick, food for thought. You never know. Chances are he's discussing with some club. I don't know. There's no way to confirm my you can say my belief, maybe, for lack of a better language, a more specific language there. I don't know. I do not know, in all honesty. Let's see what else we have. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I sincerely do appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular evening. Jacob Steinberg with the PR news. I'm not sure. I don't pay attention to what you guys call the PR news and all that. I get what you're saying. He was no one's first choice as manager in the first place. I remember those. Yeah, he was never anyone's first choice. But we had at one point the options were narrowed down to some, you could say, unacceptable options that we had to go with the best of the bunch at the time. In my opinion, seriously, 15%. Okay, if you, I don't know. I kind of got like a Trevor Chalaba much closer. Much closer, they're much closer to this manager. A lot of people think, Gallagher, coach, I have a headache. Help me understand what is going on. I honestly do not know. Why is the MK Ultra name being called McKenna? I do not know. I do not know. Chances are some of those stuff out there are just people, you can say, exploiting the situation, knowing that we'll suck up to anything we see out there. Damn, yeah, blue coat sack of a Pochettino mid Chelsea finish six. It hurts. I'm not gonna be that sentimental. We sacked Carlo Ancelotti after he won a double for us. My concern is that who comes in next? That's where I'm concerned. In all honesty, who comes in next? Which was why I was arguing, just let him finish the season. But they've let him go for reasons we do not know at this point. But we'll find out as time progresses, I believe. 15% only. The man couldn't even negotiate for at least a quarter. That's funny, really, and I'm still shocked how Rich Money Makers is able to quantify that and get a percentage number there. Still unbelievable to me. Barley had dinner with Poch on Friday. Yep, he said that himself. Then left London before the meeting Poch had with the sporting directors and Iqbali today. Barley is not on good terms with Iqbali. That's crazy. So a lot is going on that we do not know. Chances are your theory is wrong. We don't know. Chances are you are correct. Chances are one of them wanting to say, but here's where this is confusing. Remember during the award, or should I say medal presentation after we lost the final to Liverpool, he pretended not to have seen, at least that's how I perceive it, not to have seen Barley. So people at the time were saying that he's falling out with Barley, but in good terms with Iqbali. So it's everywhere. But with time, we'll find out what happened. I've moved on from him like this. I'm just concerned, who are they going to hire next? That's where my mind is set right now. My bet is Roberto De Zerbi. I mean, it's a theory that makes sense. That's because we heard some are saying he refused the Bayern job, but we've also seen subsequent reports suggesting that Bayern didn't want him. So you never know. That may well be the case, but I honestly do not know. But let's hear you, Ty. What do you make of the situation if you're there?
Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ty.
This feels like retro. It seems like retro Chelsea perspective. Roger just comes in and says no. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Okay. The first thing that I saw, read when I came on was Rich Money Makers quantifying of the fact that Poch wanted 15%. That's crazy.
Yeah, how
I don't
how
know.
is he able to come up with that number?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's about 1/20th. That's 3/20th. Sorry, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. The whole essence of Pochettino being sacked is not surprising. There was news looming around that that his future would be decided at the end of this by the end of the season, and it has been decided. Obviously, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of mitigating factors. You can't look at it from one perspective. You can't look to say, oh, he got Chelsea into the top half of the table. We finished sixth in a European spot and all of that. But the season wasn't 5 matches long or 50 matches long. It was more than that. We we we, we got eliminated from cup competitions. We got eliminated from a cup competition and we lost a cup final. There are other factors as well, and there's different reports saying different things, and it's all over the place. Some say that data was brought to him, and he couldn't answer it and he couldn't explain, so that didn't help matters. And then people are saying that it was just a case of him knowing that the whole not having a say in what transfers happen, whether it's incoming or outgoing, what happens there. So it's all over the place, and obviously that's what happens. A lot of journalists, a lot of reporters, they're gonna come out and say a whole bunch of things because at the end of the day, they're in the know, and persons that are outside of the know will either decide to believe it or simply don't play it or say that that isn't the case. But I mean, as you said, we've sacked manager, albeit not in this era or this ownership, but
Mm.
we've sacked managers in the past. Chelsea fans that have supported the club for over a decade or so would have been accustomed to knowing that sacking happens. The only issue is that we're sacking managers during a period of 12 months. We've sacked approximately four, well, not sacked four. We've had four managers. Three of them were sacked, or some people may say it's not sacked, but obviously I think personally I think he was given the chop because the whole compensation thing and all that makes no sense. You can't have mutual consent and you decide to leave the club, but you're going to pay compensation. Because when Ross Barkley contract was cancelled and he left by mutual consent, he wasn't compensated. A lot of it are better yet, when a person decides to leave, you don't compensate them. That makes no sense. Compensation is what you give to someone when you have relieved them of their duty, and they had a time frame left. So
Mm.
obviously, what is being said, I guess in a sense, it protects, quote unquote, the what's the word, the personality and the character of Pochettino by saying it's mutual consent. Perhaps he was mutual as well. He wasn't saying, "Oh, don't sack me," and he was begging. Probably he didn't indeed agree to accept the decision, and to just be calm, respectful, and to be mature about the situation rather than to lash out and be toxic about it. But I
I mean,
mean,
lashing out
it's
before it
unfortunate for
happened.
the yeah. I mean, but the one aspect that I think is a bit unfortunate is the fact that a lot of the players, well, not a lot, some of the players are coming out, and it shows that they had a lot of support for him. And I know a lot of people online, perhaps people in the chat as well, will say that what the players feel or think, it doesn't really quantify, or it shouldn't determine what decision was made, but it does show that despite all of what happened, he developed a bond with them, especially Nicholas Jackson, because I mean I don't condone what Jackson has done. I understand he's a young player. He was going through a situation that a lot of players unfortunately do go through, and that's having to adjust to a league and then being criticized and Pochettino being that father figure, quote unquote, as a manager, man management and coming out and supporting him, he would obviously feel a way about it because most of the time before the latter stages, Pochettino was defending the players. He wasn't saying things like that, and then in the latter stages, he was saying that it's you can't expect a young team to be grinding out results at a level that is going to be competitive because they're young. So that's the unfortunate thing because it will affect the mindset and the mentality of the players. But if you bring in a manager that is competent and the players can warm up to, then it's gonna be a thing of the past. So one of the few negatives. And as you said as well, the only concern that I really do have is who comes in next. Because if the demands
The
for next
question was
season is to get
asked
top
even
four,
before they fired him.
yeah, yeah. So if you're saying top four is the objective, and be competitive, perhaps win a trophy, then the options that you're choosing, you can't expect that for next season because, for one, if what's being said it should be believed, Kieran or McKenna, I'm probably butchering his last name. He's still getting his move around being a coach, and the top flight league is not as competitive, and that isn't to downplay the other leagues. They are competitive as well, but the competition in recent times has increased. A lot of the teams that are considered mediocre, they are actually showing that with a proper manager or with a good enough manager, they can grind on good results. So you can't expect, despite the fact that Chelsea has a rich history, that they're going to end up attaining certain success in one season with a manager that perhaps hasn't competed at the highest level solely. He's worked with Jose Mourinho at Man United and Oli, but that was as an assistant. When you're the coach itself, the pressure is going to be on you more. As an
Yeah,
assistant,
it's a
the
different
pressure won't be
it's a
on you.
different
It's about,
experience altogether.
yeah. So I don't want to be going on a long soliloquy and monologue. So I'm just gonna leave it there. But it's a lot. It really is a lot.
All right, I will come back. I will come to Roger in a bit. Just give me 1 second, Roger. Here, let me catch up with what we have here. I appreciate you. They probably gave Poch the manager review talk, and he said, "If this micromanaging nonsense and just quit." I think that's just you saying what you believe happened. We weren't there. Bali was in Saudi, hyping progress on the Poch after the Aston Villa game, and yet he fired him. No top hierarchy spoke up for Poch except Bali. Wow, that's interesting point right there. But yet, Bali is the most mentioned, the most blamed, the most you can say name called for lack of a better language there. Correct, Vic. Wayne Stanley wasn't happy with Poch. Wanted an experienced centre back. If Chalobah was sold, Wayne Stanley didn't like it. I think people will be hearing a lot of stuff. We'll be hearing quite a lot of stuff. Let's see, like you're seeing here, talking about Manchester United. Let's see what else we have here. We had predicted Poch would leave by mutual consent because he'd asked for a guarantee and more power in the transfer window. Poch walked away. That's what happened. You can't say for certain that's what happened. You can say for certain that's what happened. That's you speculating. That's what you believe happened. Um, we're not fighting over it, but I'm just saying that's you believing. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But you can't say for certain that's exactly what happened. The players were told about their sack on WhatsApp. About the manager sacking on in the WhatsApp group. It was a surprise sacking. He was all smiles 2 days ago. I mean, you could say 2 days ago he knew he wasn't going to be here next season, which was why he walked down the tunnel after the final whistle was blown, and or when others were still on the pitch thanking the players. When he was asked, he defended himself, saying one of his assistants urged him to come with him. I hope I'm not misquoting him to the dressing room, to the locker room to discuss something. I don't know, but you can all speculate. There's no way to find out what happened, but maybe with time we'll find out. But right now, I think it's all speculations. They fired Potter without having a replacement, and they just did the same with Poch now. they are clueless. I don't think they don't have a plan in place. I don't believe 1 second that they have not been talking with another manager, especially us hearing that they want to replace him in days, not in months. I don't believe for a second that they don't have a plan, except if they don't have again a new manager or his replacement in mind. It simply means that Poch, yeah, quit. He did quit. He wasn't fired. There weren't conversations, and they decided to go their separate ways. But that's just my opinion anyway. Let's see. I can assure you that Tuchel, Potter, and Poch were happy to cash out and run. Wow, Vic is he's in that place right now. Chelsea and Man United fans are starting to settle for mediocrity. So sad. Happy I live in Canada. I don't have to buy the increased season tickets for this. Wow, Courtney. At least you still support Chelsea, so you're still part of it. Deserving was offered a lucrative offer. I only assume it's Downlake at it again. How do you know he was offered one? Who was that offered him that, and he rejected it? The draw to Burnley and Sheffield United and losses to Wolves and at home. The loss to Wolves at home is what got him sacked. I told you, you'll be hearing a lot of stuff. Roger, let's hear you. What do you make of the situation? Did you see this one coming?
Hola.
Gracias. Konnichiwa. Aloha. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, Ty. How are you, sir? Hello, Coach.
Hello to
Listen,
you, Roger.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit surprised, to put it mildly. The reason why I say that is because if you listen to his last few press conferences, he seemed very jolly, very upbeat, very jovial with the journalists at his pressers, which was quite a contrast when you look at the previous, let's say, few weeks where he was.
You can say you can say observed what some argue were signs that he wasn't going to be here.
Yeah, he was a bit contentious. Let's leave it at that. But not the last few presses. He seemed very upbeat. He even mentioned that he had dinner with, I believe he said Bowley or one of the owners. Yeah, on a Friday night. Listen, this announcement that was made today, the meeting took place yesterday, so they slept on it, according to Sky Sports. And so they basically had a mutual understanding yesterday, but they slept on it and wanted to decide which way to go. Usually when you hear a presser or press release, I should say, where they say we're mutually parting company, that means it's a polite way of being fired. However, they went the extra step if you look at their press releases and said it's a mutual parting of the waves, and
some agreement between the two parties.
Yeah, and he is welcome anytime. You don't usually say that when you fired someone, and you just want to leave it at amicable firing and be PR. So I believe that. Listen, this is all conjecture. Okay, it's just myself guessing. I would assume that they probably had a difference in either philosophy or term of contract length or certain players. I'm not sure whether it would be I want more experienced players, and they were saying no, we're going to stick to this age group, this profile, however you want to term it. There was obviously differences, and Poch felt reassured within himself. I believe, and it's not just my opinion, it's basically the consensus when you listen to the pundits and the journalists, at least in United Kingdom, and even actually on ESPN, where they've all stated he walks away here, he being Pochettino, with his head held high, meaning that he basically didn't hurt his reputation. In fact, he'll be offered probably any job he wants to, assuming there's openings. So if anything, he actually had the confidence in his meeting. Listen, he's been around the block. This isn't his first rodeo. And so he basically went in there. And if you listen to his previous press conferences, he alluded to the fact that, for with regards to the rumours about him being fired, but he also, and I'll preface this, paraphrasing it, where he said, but it also requires the coaching staff to want to be employed. In other words, if he doesn't like it, he'll walk. He stated that. And
But should he
so,
be saying that, Roger? I understand. I think that
listen,
also is
that's
the issue.
irrelevant. It's beyond the minutia. No, because listen, first of all, if you listen to his press conference, I've listened to about 90%. Let's say a lot of things get
Mhm,
lost in
mhm.
translation. He said words um, that, for instance, I think he said money instead of something else. He obviously he's not fluent. He is fluent in English, but he does make the occasional verbal faux pas, so to speak. So I have no problem with that. His English is vastly superior to my Spanish or any other language for that matter. So listen, you can criticize him for many things. Has he made mistakes? Yes, undoubtedly. Has he been the reason for Chelsea not being higher in the table? Absolutely not. I believe when you have an XG and your execution is far less than the XG itself, you know, in addition to, shall we say, defensive errors, both mentally and technically, that's on the players. You know how I feel about this. I'm not Poch in, I'm not Poch out. You've known my position.
Yeah, and I know that. Yeah.
I believe, based on what's transpired, two main reasons. One, it's the youngest squad by far, and that's with a 39-and-a-half-year-old in the team squad. And B, the fact that it's by far the largest amount of injuries out of any side in the Premier League. And I think I saw something like it's the second worst injury list in the whole of the top 5 European leagues. That was of like 2 or 3 games ago. So I'm not sure whether the season finished in that position. Irrelevant. We still were the most injured and the youngest team. So when you put those into context, I believe he did an admirable job. Could he have done better? No doubt about it. I'm not saying he was walking on water. But my only threat moving forward, FRET, not threat, but fret, as in worry,
Mhm,
is the
mhm.
fact that I worry about the fact that who can we get to replace him that is not going to be a project in and of themselves, like a Potter, for instance, perhaps. You pick someone that's going to come in here and hit the ground running is going to be hard enough, let alone someone that's going to lack the experience of, shall we say, managing a top flight club. And that's why I worry, because we could. It looks like we've taken a step back. And this doesn't mean to say that we could have a coach come in and be in the top 4 or win a trophy and or both of the above. I'm not saying that's not possible, but usually it takes time. Also, we need a coach that's going to come in and utilize a formation and a football philosophy that will utilize the squad with which they fit that profile. Like we have so many number 8s, maybe a 4-3-3. A back 3 probably is not the way to go, even though I want it. But listen, our back 4 is a shambles anyway, because our centre backs. There's a myriad of reasons. Um, as I said, I, I I feel this is nowhere near as big a loss as Tuchel personally, because I had.
There's Ancelotti, there's Mourinho on 2 occasions, but I don't think it was. You could say the question, like we've been asking this question, Roger. I think especially you. The question is, if we let him go, who comes in? Because there are
Yeah,
a shortage of elite managers on the market right now. But go ahead with what you were
and
saying.
and there's other people that are relishing the fact that he's left, which I don't personally comprehend. Listen, as I said, he has made mistakes, but I don't think they're worthy of him being terminated. I know it's a mutual parting of the ways, but you get my logic here. Um, I think it's a gamble. The other thing is, I was speaking on Mitchie's show a few hours ago, and the one thing that we all concluded is, we're not a huge club with regards to, listen, under the previous administration, I think the median average tenure of a coach, permanent coach that is 18 months, give or take days. right now under this current regime, it's less than a season each. Obviously, it's going to be a
Under
lot.
2 years, right?
Yeah, I'm not including Tuchel because that was 7 weeks. So I'm just including. I mean, theoretically, yeah, it's way shorter than a season each. So you're looking at nearly half the time based on. So if you're telling us, you meaning the Chelsea Football Club itself, are telling us that this is a project, we're patient and so forth, well, guess what? The project doesn't usually, it requires stability. It doesn't usually include this mass turnover and termination or mutual parting of the ways of head coaches slash managers. So I honestly, I don't want to hear this term project anymore. Or process. I don't want to hear that because guess what? You 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 haven't illustrated that thus far. Um, to me, it's not to do with the owners either. I believe it's if the hierarchical process is indeed in place, where the board of directors slash owners hire sporting directors to run the day in day out operations of a football club. That includes the ingress and egress of staff, coaching, players, etc., then they are the ones. And in fact, we know for a fact that the meeting was held with both sporting directors and Poch yesterday. So, um, as far as we know, there was no owner slash board of directors involved present. So, if that's the actual case, then the onus goes on the sporting directors. Yes, the board of directors are responsible for hiring those sporting directors, but they are the ones that are hiring and firing, ingress and egress of people. So I think when we say owners, I think that's very inaccurate per se. Yes, indirectly is, but directly it's not, if you get my gist. As for who I believe is qualified to come in, I couldn't tell you. I'm not sure.
There
I,
aren't
I
too
w-
many actually. Every name and all the names on the list that's being thrown around are all, you could say, they're not proven. Amorim, for instance, isn't proven outside of Portugal. He hasn't won the Champions League. Had he done that, you say, okay, he's proven out of Portugal. Hansi Flick, we're not too sure if he's coming. Rumors are that the club and the owners are interested in Hansi Flick or maybe any established name. But go ahead with what you were saying.
yeah, then listen, you have the Italian former. I forgot his name now.
Deservy?
No, no, Juve. He's just
Oh, what's
um,
his name? That's
yeah,
that also with yeah.
yeah. He's a great coach, but I'm not. He doesn't fit the profile of a young and upcoming coach.
And
Deserby,
he's not progressive in terms of his approach, really.
no, no, definitely not.
Yeah,
Apparently, he's a very tactically astute individual.
yeah.
Um, but however, it's like De Zerbi. Well, listen, I defend De Zerbi in the fact that yes, they finished in the lower half of the table, but they've lost a lot of good players also. McAllister, Caicedo, etc., etc. So that's hard either. Does that mean that he can come in and not succeed? I agree. He could win us the league next year. I don't know. I'm not sure. Thomas Frank seems to be a very popular choice by certain
And I
journalists
don't know
in
why.
Britain. Yeah, well, he's done very well with very little. Let's be honest. Um, he's Danish, isn't he? He's not German. He's Danish.
Yeah, he's
Um,
Danish. Yeah,
yeah, and so listen, I don't know. Amarin, but he's a back three person. But his coaching philosophy may not suit the squad per se. I don't know. He's not proven either. But then again, I think for Chelsea to succeed, we're going to have to hire the next Pep, because if we don't, we're going to be having the same conversation probably around Christmas time with another new coach. Because if indeed this is the case where we are trigger happy and we seem to be under this new regime, which I was hoping would not be the case, well, guess what? I believe that we're going to be worse off than we are with continuity speaking, because we're going to be hiring and firing multiple times within a calendar year by the looks of it. So I'm disenchanted. I'm disappointed. Because
Before I give chat back the microphone, Roger, how much of a
of
risk
course.
is this really?
Sorry, sir.
How much of a risk is this? His departure.
Well, you know what? We're assuming that we being Chelsea, as in the sporting directors, had a say in it. Listen, they could have wanted him, but guess what? He may have wanted out. I believe it is a mutual. They probably came to the conclusion, philosophically, for whatever reason, whether that's his personal contract or player profiles or certain individuals, they couldn't come to be on the same wavelength, and so they believe that it's best to part now. A, it gives us a chance to find a new coach, and B, it gives him a chance to find gainful employment. So I think it's done with the utmost respect. It seems like way, according to the press releases. And so, if anything, the onus goes on Poch because he could have bit his proverbial lip and gone along with the plan. He's the one that I believe that he wasn't. I don't think he's too concerned about whether he stayed or went. A, he's only been here a year. He's got more of shall we say, a greater tenure with other teams, and I think B, he saw the writing on the wall. I think he's probably frustrated A with the lack of leadership within the team. He probably understands that it needs older players and more leadership. Also, with Silva leaving, he probably realizes that's a huge vacuum to fill, etc. And listen, it's pure conjecture, but I believe that he probably felt more comfortable laying his cards on the table and saying, "This is what I'd be comfortable with," and I don't believe we're on the same wavelength. And thus, I don't think it's so much you can say it's blaming Chelsea for firing him. I think it's just they didn't. They weren't on the same page, and
Yeah,
that
like you said,
happens.
what they have in mind down the line, and I think that brings to mind the rumors some people are suggesting there's probably has already started talking to some other club, to some club we don't know, and rumors are that United are interested in hiring him.
Yeah,
Some mentioned Bayern, but you never know. Bayern, I don't think so, but we'll see. But go ahead with what you're saying, Roger.
I think I believe that he won't be short of any suitors. I believe he's left Chelsea with his reputation intact, however you want to perceive that. And I think that's borne out by a lot of other analysts well, real analysts. I'm just a plonker that's a Chelsea fan. But I think I'm worried about the fact that we're going to have to hit the bullseye. We're going to have to win the lottery because this is what concerns me, because we've seen that perhaps it's too big of a step up for a young and upcoming coach. It's going to be very hard. We need either an elite coach or B, a semi-elite coach, which is what I would consider Poch. I would call him like if you have one A and you have one B, I would call him a one B coach. And so, at the very least, that's what we should be looking at. Someone that knows how to put their arms around young players and how to coach and relate to young players. And Poch definitely has a track record of doing so, especially with Southampton, more so than Tottenham. And I think if you look at the entire season, you can see that the players never down tools. They actually played for him, and they've said so. Listen to Palmer, listen to Madueke. They all say that they love playing for him. So what does that tell me? What type of message does it send these kids? Well, I mean, I shouldn't be calling them kids, these young men, because you know what? They're going to be frustrated. They're going to be like, wow, I'm in here for the project, and the one person. Listen, Enzo, this is going to be his fourth permanent coach in his tenure with Chelsea. And what does that say? That's what kind of message does that send these young players?
Houston, one thing I'll bring us back to is the fact you said the next call for who's going to be the next manager, they have to get it right. Otherwise, the situation will compound. But let's see what they do. We'll wait. We'll come back. Let's see what else we have here. And Vic is saying, how would you take months to find Pochettino only to tell us there's a philosophical difference after 9 months? Why would I trust the directors to get it right? I think they should be answering question, Roger.
Coach, can I
It took
just quickly
them.
say
Yeah,
something?
yeah. Go
I,
ahead.
I believe these sporting directors, if they're any good at their job, any respectable sporting director will have a short list of people updated constantly because of the ins and outs of the football industry, nationally and internationally. They will have a short list at all times about their top three, top five, however you want to term it. And if they don't, then we're in deep trouble. Of course, they will. Every club, whether it's a fourth division or non-league or a top class, organization, will have a short list. So I believe that the only thing that will take time, if anything, will be negotiations over details, perhaps. Other than that, it shouldn't take them months to identify someone. Perhaps with the exception of any coach slash manager that's ahead of an international country's national team, based on like Europe or South America, for instance. Other than that, they should be able to get permission from a club if that person is currently employed, or if they're not, be able to open lines of communication immediately within a day or so. So I'd be very worried if they actually don't have a shortlist, and I'm 99.9% they have a shortlist.
Yeah, and Reggie, it just doesn't make sense to say that they've not been talking to any managers before now. I
They
think they
probably
have.
listen. I don't know. They probably haven't, because why would you? Because these talks took place yesterday. Well, yesterday in America's time. So what's the date? So on Monday. This happened on Monday. So I doubt very much that they had any talks with anyone else. Why would you, if you're going into a meeting to review someone? Unless you had intent of letting them go in the first place. Other than that, if it's true that they went into this meeting as a pure review meeting, and you're open-minded and you want to proceed with the employment, but you couldn't come to, shall we say, agree on certain philosophies running the club, whatever they may be, we don't know, then is the time to start communicating. Why would you communicate with someone if you have no intention of letting them go? And if that's the case, then I see no reason why they should do that. At least logically. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know, Coach.
I think we're missing something because here's the thing. Even Poch himself, in recent, let's say, weeks, he's been up, down, left, right in terms of things that you could perceive as him not having a good relationship with the owners. And that comment of him, yeah, why aren't people considering the fact that he also could decide that, you know what, this is not for me and leave? That's not. I don't think that's not. That's not that was
He did
I
sound
when I heard that, I started suspecting that yeah, it looks like he's gonna walk.
he did sound, shall we say, frustrated at times. He seemed
Yeah,
on edge. He seemed a bit. He sounded like he just had a new baby and hadn't slept at all. How are you doing, by the way, sir? I hope baby and mother are doing well. I'm
doing
sorry,
good,
I
doing
forgot to
good.
say
She's
that.
recovering from the cesarean
Good,
section or whatever you
good,
call it.
sir. But
But
yeah,
I
you're right.
understand
You're
what you
right,
mean.
though, Coach. No, but you're right, though. He did seem, shall we say, touchy in some of his presses. He seemed like every question was hitting a nerve. So yeah,
And
but
then
but,
the
but
next day, his ice.
yeah, and then you know what? Since the last few presses he's had, he seemed like a completely different person. That you know, ever since that dinner Friday night, he seemed like a very content, humorous. I mean, he was even laughing, making jokes with the journalists. Especially the famous one. I cannot confirm or deny. That was funny. That was seriously
Mhm.
cute. He seemed very much at ease. I was under no impression at any time, especially after that press conference, that he would be leaving. So, and especially with listen, even though we've won 5 consecutive games, you must admit, though, we weren't exactly playing beautiful football at
No, that's why
times.
I'm saying people that are judging or people that
No,
all of a sudden want him to stay, wants him to stay because we won 5 games in a row or
yeah,
something.
but do you
I
remember
don't think
Potter?
so.
Do you
Yeah.
remember Potter's first 10 games? We were unbeaten, and you and I were talking like, actually, we're playing like crap.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
we've been lucky. And if here's the fact
but
remains.
then again, Coach, I want to say this
Mhm.
quickly: we have lost games and/or dropped points, with draws when we've been the better team. So I guess we
Yeah,
were winning ugly, which is a sign of a good team in some regards.
yeah.
But
Me
uh,
arguing, me arguing that it just doesn't make sense to be judging whether he stays or goes, given how we finished in the table and the last 5 games just doesn't make sense. And I told people, I realize, I agree, there are solid reasons why I think the owners, if they consider that objectively, they should just give him one more season. For the fact that
yes,
we average, finished the season averaging at least 8-7 players out each game, where we have a very young squad. We have an entirely new squad. Those are factors that when you pay attention to them, yeah, it just makes sense. It's only fair that you give them more time, and the fact that we weren't clinical in front of goal. Those are solid factors. But going just
yeah.
by 6 games, last 6 games of the season of five, it just doesn't make sense. Then you
No, I
just being
agree. I
it
agree. A
just you're
total.
just letting your emotions drive your decision making process.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
That's why I compared it to the Potter first 10 games. You can't judge his coaching. But let's be honest though, since December the 26th, we have the fourth most amount. Only three teams have more points than us in the Premier League.
yeah.
And that's the top. So we would have ended up in fourth. I mean, yes, I know. And if my uncle had a uterus, it'd be my auntie. I get it. I get it. But
Hmm.
you must admit that there were signs that we were playing better and getting better results,
That's
regardless of
yeah. I mean, we made
a-
improvement.
a-
We
and
yeah,
that's with a depleted squad. Let's be honest. A depleted squad. We were the only team over 300 games missing this season. It's we by far led the Premier League by the injury list.
yeah,
So what does
yeah.
that tell
And
you?
those factors, you can say that you can present them as an argument, and
They're
only
mitigating
an off-curve person will
circumstances.
not believe you. Go ahead, Richard. Just give me 1 second, please.
Yeah, of course. Those are what I would call mitigating circumstances. I really do. There's a difference between a reason and an excuse, and I perceive that to be reason. That doesn't justify that he's going to be the person to take us to the promised land. I'm not saying that because I personally don't know. I can't say whether he would be. Listen, had we kept him, he, we could have lost the first 5 to 10 games. There's no guarantee just because he remained the Chelsea head coach that he would have succeeded. There is no guarantee.
Yeah,
And it's because I don't know that, because I believe he hasn't been given a fair shake. I would like to see what he can do with a relatively healthy squad, going forward. That's my only logic to argue about. He didn't deserve to be let go previously. That's just my honest opinion. And you know how I feel. I believe this culture in football, and specifically our club, we have a trigger happy culture, and I don't agree with that because I believe it takes longer to build a winning football team. It really does. You can't just do it overnight. No other team would do that. Obviously, unless you're losing every game. I'm talking about you need to see progress. You know, as I said, you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, 6 years or 7 years before he won his first league title. Look at Klopp, 3.5 years, didn't do anything until they added a great goalkeeper and a great centre back. It takes time. Listen, let's put it this way. Had Klopp been hired by Chelsea, that's 8 or 9 years or however long ago it was, he wouldn't have lasted 8, 9 years, however long it is, because they wouldn't have given him enough time. We need to be more pragmatic, more grounded, in my opinion. Historically speaking, we were able to do that because we had an incredible squad where our rotational players were still full internationals. You can't compare the squad we have now from yesteryear. It's just you're comparing apples to oranges. And so when you put that in perspective, I think it's important. Look, our first 2 Champions League finals were with whom leading the helm? Wasn't Ancelotti, wasn't Mourinho, right? Exactly. And so that's how good the squad was, that we could actually get to Champions League with 2, shall we say, subpar coaches. And that sounds really rude of me, but they weren't elite coaches, let's put it that way.
Yeah, Jerry Z, just be a bit patient with me. Let me give those in the chat the microphone. I'll come back to the panel and you get to speak. Big up to you too, CAA Mafia. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Deserving to Chelsea is the worst kept a secret. We all know it's coming. This team is built for him. I've heard a lot of people say that, and here's the thing: it is believable.
Would you like
given
him?
the way he left Brighton, and rumors are that he already has an agreement with his new club. But it's just that they had the conversation in utmost secrecy. I'm not sure how to present that, but we don't know. Let's see what happens there. So come back to the panel in a bit, Roger. Just give me a few seconds, please,
Sure.
or a minute or two. I think the biggest is the ego and power at the club. I don't see the sporting directors of wanting someone bigger or more knowledgeable than they themselves. Wow. That's a believable argument because it's a human thing, in my opinion. Poch was horrible throughout the season. His mouth got him fired. Wow, Chelsea Holic, that's a serious one right there. A lot of people will argue that's the case because he said quite a lot. Let's see what else we have here. Coach, I think the biggest problem is the ego and power. Yeah, I think I've read that. I understood what you were saying there. And as I was reading it, I was remixing it because I found out you mistyped some stuff. The Zervi is the only one on their list that has a Premier League experience and got a team to Europe and plays in a manner that some of the reports out there are saying they want the sort of coach that plays a possession-based football and also can control the game with that. And Roger defending Reserve, already what he said sounds like they may well go for him, but it's difficult to say. Roger, next client is RDZ. Chelsea, feel nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join. Let's see. Is that LB or IB or Deservy? Doesn't want an all youth project again. Did he tell you that? How do you know that's the case? And Rich Moneymakers here saying a breaking news: Hansi Flick ruled himself out. Has he? I didn't see that. The last time I checked, I heard he's interested. In the job if given the opportunity. A lot of managers are, because this is a very good squad, not perfect yet, but the talent there is something a lot of managers would want to coach. A healthy Chelsea team has a way more talent than Brighton's roster. You cannot compare what he's given to what Chelsea would give him. Yep. If we're talking about talent, I think Chelsea, in all honesty, ready-made for him. But do I want him? I'd say no. I think why sack Poch if the next manager will be Deserving?
Do you have a preference? Do you have a preference, Coach? On
right now, I don't. The market is up, Roger. It's Deserving, it's the Brighton manager, it's the Ipswich manager, it's Amorim. Which if I have to choose at one point, I'd give me Amorim because at least he's won something. The others haven't won anything. Hansi Flick, I'm not sure he'd do well in the Premier League, that's not me saying certainly if it comes, it's not going to change to adapt. After all, Pep changed and adapted, and since has actually adapted even more and found a way to dominate consistently for 4 seasons in a row right now. Right now, I'm not too sure, which was why when asked, was it a month ago, I told them that unfortunately I haven't started looking beyond Mauricio Pochettino. That's because who's out there? The same question we will all ask. We'll all ask for a lengthy amount of time. And yeah, look where we are. If I were, if I were a young coach, I wouldn't go near Chelsea's job. It's a great opportunity for a lot of them. Even you'd be surprised who some of the coaches licking their lips and hoping to get the opportunity to coach this crop of players. It's a career suicide. I don't think so. That's you saying it like that. If a young coach failed at Chelsea, that's probably the end of it. Some of them would want to take it. Some of them wouldn't want to risk it. But
do you know why, Coach?
Do
Do you know why? It's
Go
because they
ahead.
believe in what they do. So I
Yeah.
had surgery a few years ago, and one of my best friends is a surgeon. And after going to a consultation, I mentioned that to my good friend that, wow, that surgeon I saw earlier in the day, his ego was huge. And my friend, who's a surgeon, said, yeah, they have to be, because they have to believe in what they do. And so I look at that. I'm not calling these coaches surgeons, but you get my logic. They
Yeah,
they they put their everything into it, and they believe in what they do. You wouldn't be able to go and coach young people day in, day out for hours at end in a job that you love if you didn't believe in what you were doing, your philosophy, your your approach to things. So yeah, do you see my logic?
yeah, you spoke with clarity there. So, Roger, the dinner with Todd went okay, but the meeting with Chris Stanley didn't go as planned. That's a funny one. Todd could be
Hola,
pretending as
rich
if he didn't know
moneymaker.
what was coming. Tango Rido, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. And Tango Rido is here saying, I swear this board want to ruin my club. If anything, they mean well. Have they done all the decisions they've made? I think let me just go. They've not been perfect. They've made mistakes, and chances are you never know. They hire the next manager, and then it will turn out to be one of the best decisions they've made so far since
Exactly.
they bought the club. I mean, it's 50-50. It can go either way. We're not too sure what's going to happen. Let's see what else we have here. Malangsa. Let's see. Weira, nice to see you. Nobody is complaining. We're having a good conversation here, Weira. I hope you're doing well. Jerisi, let me come to you. Let's hear you. What do you make of the situation? You called it. You knew it. You said he's leaving, and I was debating you, telling you I don't see him leaving. But your argument was that he will quit, he will resign, and I wouldn't call this a resignation. But let's hear you, Jerisi, if you're there.
Hey, hola, Jerry.
Hello, Coachella. Hello, Sir
Big
Roger.
up, Jerry.
Hi. Hello to the audience, and congratulations to everyone for a huge win for Chelsea Football Club today.
Wow, you serious right now?
Why do you
Absolutely,
think that?
absolutely, absolutely. So, Coachella, I forgot the question in the excitement. What did you
Yeah,
ask?
what do you make of the situation? You saw it coming, so I don't think it makes sense to ask you again that if you
Yeah.
did see this
So,
coming. You saw it
for the
coming.
audience,
What do you make of the situation?
and to marinate it a little bit more. So, I just telling like why I was anticipating, or of course I'm not. I won't confess, or I won't say that I know thing, or I know better than others, but. At least what my observation was, that why I was so confident that it's going to happen. A number of reasons, right? And some of them could be true. It's not that everything what I thought were the exact reasons. We don't know, right? So it's basically had to do with Pochettino's press conference or post-match analysis uh, after the Aston Villa game, and especially after the Tottenham Hotspur game. So if we see during the season, I'll try to make it short, but there's a lot to cover. The entire season, he was relaxed, right? Up until the Aston Villa game. As he was in Tottenham, Southampton, PSG, he had the same demeanor, he had the same calm, composure. And throughout the season, when we were not doing great, we were having a bad season or a rough batch. And all the news from February Romano, Onsteins of this world were like the board are with him. They understand what's going on, so they don't blame him, right? But when the team in this last month took a, you can say, a U-turn, or really turn it, I would say. And after the second half against Villa, I would say one of the best street fight football that I've seen ever, I would say. It was that good. And then the 2-0 win against Tottenham, it was 2-0, but technically it was 6-0. Like, we played them out of the park, right? And then not the post-match press conference, uh, on the field, when the Sky Sports panelists have their post
Yeah.
match talk, I just noticed. I mean, again, I'm not confessing or saying that I can feel the emotions or anything, but when he said enough is enough, and then he had the talk. For some reason, I was carefully listening to that, right? And I just realized, and of course with the help of the, I forgot the host of the show with the lady, sorry, I forgot the name. They were throughout his talk were asking him, I'm paraphrasing, of course, is there anything that is bothering you? You're not sure about the owners, you think you are being judged? And then it triggered me, or my ears like a Doberman stood, and I was like, why are they asking him again and again and again? And then he was with this magnificent victory, it's the second half against Villa, and magnificent performance against Spurs, the magical performance, to give a tribute on this day. He was talking as if he is not at all secure. He is not sure what's going to happen. That's what I read, right? That's what the panelists of the Sky Sports, the commentators, got this feeling. The way he was defending and kind of going on a rant. Okay, that was the first point. And then when he talked and when he went back, they just waited, looked back, and they talked. The lady and the two guys, they talked among themselves that what's going on? There's something not right here, and I took it seriously, basically. And then, of course, before that, and the next, I don't have to go again through all of the press conferences and the talk. So he like some of the things that Roger and you have already covered that I can also review. I'm paraphrasing, of course, I cannot remember all the words. That I can also take a decision, or I can. So I thought, this is not Pochettino. This is not Pochettino from Southampton, Tottenham. He is known as a person who would never, ever push the envelope. This is his DNA. This is his DNA. This is what he's known for. This is one of the reasons that many clubs want to go for him, even though maybe he is, you can say, has maybe some limitations compared to some of the best managers in the world, because he would really work in the framework, in the ethical boundaries, and the structure would be at place. He was really shaking it again and again and again. And when he said that not only he himself, but the sporting directors and even the owners, again, my words may not be exactly the same, should also be judged. I was like, no, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. So after Spurs came, again after West Ham's 5-0 win, again Nottingham Forest, Brighton, I said he's not sure. And yes, as Roger identified rightly so, that, and then it all changed in the last week. It was cool, calm, and collected, right? And some of the analysts or the fans got this impression that everything is sorted. So what I was thinking, I'm not saying that everything I was thinking is exactly what happened. I was like, look, maybe he has a call. He has a conversation with the club at the same time. Or he believes that the opening of Manchester United, because this is not a rocket science if someone is following football. He is linked heavily with Manchester United for the last 6-7 years. And seriously, Roger can confirm that. Very, very seriously, 2 times he came very close at getting the job, and it's his dream job. If someone has followed Pochettino, this is the job he wants to take, Manchester United. He's obsessed for this job. And I'm not saying that Manchester United called him, because Eric Ten Hag is there, but he has talked with Ineos. I mean, when he sacked from PSG, he offered him to come to Nice. Gary Neville, Ferdinand, Sir Alex, all supporting. I'm just saying, of course, they are not the decision makers. And some of the people in the current board, for a long time support him. He was the choice when Mourinho was to be replaced, but it couldn't happen because of his Tottenham tenure. He was the candidate to replace Ole Gunnar when Ole Gunnar was the interim manager, but for some reason, Ole Gunnar won his first 10 or 11 matches out of 13, and they gave him a permanent contract.
Yeah.
Then he kept waiting for the United job for months. Didn't take different offers, whatever they were, Villarreal or Sevilla from Spain or Aston Villa. I don't some of these clubs, and Ole was on a run for some reason. That was a golden time, And then he went to PSG. He never wanted to go there. He was waiting for Manchester United job. So I'm just going fast. And then Manchester United, when they eventually sacked Ole Gunnar, and it's confirmed, it's on Sky. They contacted PSG that they want Pochettino at that time. But of course, because he was working for them, they triggered an additional, that 2 + 1 year one. So
Yeah.
so Man United had to pay for Pochettino, and then eventually Eric Ten Hag was the man who was chosen in the summer. So this is I'm just saying it's a serious thing, and to back that this is of course facts. And when during this time, 10 days or 12 days ago, something of that sort, when Ornstein said that look out for Pochettino if he leaves Chelsea for Manchester United, just look out for that. And
Do
then
you
we
think that?
know
Do
the
you think that
managers,
will transpire, Jerry?
Thomas Frank, Southgate. When you have these managers, it's not unrealistic. Of course, maybe Thomas Tuchel and probably on merit should be the first choice for United, but we never know if they talk or if they're talking, it will go through, right? So I was thinking all of this, and then of course you got the crux, right? So I don't have to go in further detail. And then
Sure,
it's
sure.
Bayern Munich, it's AC Milan, it's Newcastle potentially. So and each time when he was at work from Tottenham, PSG, he never had the opportunity to be available. If you can go and look at the right time when the season was, he was always occupied. So I think he backed himself, or either he had some kind of conversation, as our club, if we can imagine, we're having a conversation with other managers. At the same time, I believe he wanted to stay at Chelsea, but because he had some confidence, let's say this, because we cannot say that he has an offer or he had a talk with any club. I think he backed himself to let's have a talk with Chelsea, and we don't know what that talk was, right? We can only
Sure.
speculate. Was it, I want Conor Gallagher? Maybe he didn't ask for much, he just asked for Gallagher. I'm just saying, and
Yeah.
it didn't transpire, right? He said no, at least okay, I won't be involved. I understood this framework. I signed for this. But after working for 1 year, look, I'm this is what I understand. And to go to the next level, I honestly understand that you should make these small adjustments. I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
I agree. I agree.
right? And when they say that no, Conor Gallagher is instrumental for Pochettino, I'm just saying. And if they say no, we cannot give you any assurance. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe a month, two, we'll see what happens. We cannot say anything. And then based on all the things I'm saying about Man United and potentially going to Bayern because 7 managers rejected Bayern. So maybe he backed himself. Let's okay. Then this mutual, like, parting ways with mutual consensus happened. So this is what I was observing for the last 2 3 weeks, and for me, or to me, this was not at all a surprise, and I was really anticipating that it will be Pochettino who will. I'm not saying it's Pochettino who walked away, but it will Pochettino
Sure.
who will push the envelope, and then it's so
Jerry.
collegiate.
Knowing that it will result to them saying, okay, you know what, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
Correct.
Jerry, I think his 5 game winning streak gave him ammunition enough for 2 reasons. One, to be able to talk to the owners, or sorry, sporting directors as such, and B, it gives him credibility for, in the back of his mind, being hired by someone else because he's turned the tables. I agree with you, what you're saying. I'm just reinforcing it.
Or possibly he's already spoken to some club.
Yes,
Yeah, that should
you
happen.
nailed it. You nailed it. I had this in mind. I have so many things I covered it in some.
Jerry, Jerry, can I quickly ask you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Do you think? Listen, I'm not saying get your crystal ball out, but do you think that in all likelihood he will be United's next manager slash head coach?
Um, uh,
I don't think so, Raza.
if you, I mean, if I have to say yes or no, I have only two options, right, Roger? Either to say yes or no, right? Then I'll say yes. He's going to
Okay,
Manchester United. If,
Do
of
you
course,
think they would want to risk
if
it?
Ten Hag
They
is
want to
is
affiliate
sacked,
with his record in England. That's what I'm
if Ten
saying.
Hag is sacked, if Ten Hag is sacked, I
I
mean,
hope he's not. I hope they keep Ten Hag for a decade.
I believe this marriage was supposed to happen for a long time, and I think it's Manchester United. And look, I'm not too confident, I'm not certain, but because of the options, right? Of course, final boss Coachella had a point that why should Manchester United go for him, right? But look, first of all, then as we have already talked before I came here, I was listening. We don't have, or even Chelsea don't have many options like elite
Yeah,
managers.
there aren't too
Maybe
many options. Yeah.
maybe only Tuchel, right? Or the likes of Mourinho or Conte. That I believe both United and Chelsea won't be interested for obvious reasons, if you
Yes,
understand.
I,
So
I yeah, I don't
just one
think
thing,
that
sir.
they fit.
So
They
why
fit.
it won't be a surprise, as I already
Sorry, Roger.
said.
What did you say?
I don't think Mourinho or Tuchel will fit into the quote unquote project.
I don't
Correct,
think they
correct.
will, and I don't
That's
think the club would look at them. Will look at
Yeah,
them.
no,
exactly.
that's what I was saying. That's what I was
Yeah.
saying. That it's Tuchel, and if they are, then it's the likes of Mourinho and Conte, which we can understand why are not in consideration. So, why, as you said, that why should they go for um, Pochettino? The board is already, as I said, you can go and confirm if Roger can confirm because I'm sure he covered all the news. Pochettino is a long term target of Manchester United, and again, Roger can confirm me or correct me if I'm
Let me
wrong.
just.
Just
I
one
know
last
that.
thing.
And here's
Just
what
one,
I want to tell you quickly.
just one last thing because you said that why would they go
Yeah,
for him?
I want to
Just to
tell you this
conclude.
quickly. Sometimes, when you have somebody you that is sometimes some marriages that didn't happen. Sometimes you look back and say, "Wow, I was lucky. I didn't get married to that person." If you're using the
I was
marriage
about to say, are you having flashbacks there, Coach?
What was that? Seriously, coach.
you're using marriage as if yeah, they will still want them. There are certain, in terms of marriages, there are certain, you can say, missed opportunities that when you look back, you'd be happy. You'd say that was a blessing in disguise.
Okay,
You get my
I'm just
point?
going to
And if you're
conclude
using
that.
the
Of
marriage
course,
analogy, but go
I
ahead.
understand. I understand. At the same time, I'm saying it's good, and then I'm saying no, it's good enough. Let me just conclude that. Because you raised the point, and it's a great point. Also, I was listening to what's his name, Mark Goldbridge, who don't support Pochettino, and he was even had this long stream, and he believes that he will be linked and it's a serious chance anyhow. So what why I was saying, look, the options what United has, if you follow, because I generally follow all the big clubs, they are linked with also Thomas Frank, Graham Potter, even Gareth Southgate. So if you really put Pochettino in that in that list, I think he will be, at least in my opinion, he should be a better choice for Manchester. So it's not like they are going for Poch when they have a prime Tuchel, or I mean Tuchel is there. I mean they have Tuchel, they have Nagelsmann, they have Enrique, they have all these managers Pep available, right? So it is realistic. And secondly, and lastly, Roger again, or anyone can correct me if it's not making sense. Even up till this time, most of the, you can say, guru, the experts in the industry, ex players in the mainstream, they really rate Pochettino high, and they have given him a complete, you can say, clean slate, or a pass for this season, that he did well at Chelsea. And again, if you go back at Spurs, he's appreciated for that. And right now, Man United is eighth if they don't win Europe. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that he's the favorite, I'm just saying it's a strong possibility. And because Roger asked, so if
It's
I
a
have
big
to say
club,
yes or no,
Jesse.
I think he's going to
Yeah.
Manchester United.
Okay,
It's a
well, so fine. Here's what I want to say is this. What was it again? I just lost it. We'll see what happens. I had a question that came to me.
sleep
Let me ask you this,
deprivation, Coach.
Jersey. Sorry.
Sleep deprivation.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Jerry. Honestly,
Unless
Roger.
Harry Kane, unless Harry Kane
Answer this.
convince Bayern Munich for him, that's another situation.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. You never know. They will want him because yeah, he's probably the best amongst those that are available. Um, they
Yeah.
wanted what's the other coach, a German coach too, that said no to them. He wants to start his current club. Sebastian, what's his last name again? But let me ask you this: I've asked Roger the question, and Roger thinks I think Roger his response was that he doesn't think so. Do you believe for 1 second, Jersey, that the club, you can say, didn't know that this was going to come to this and probably weren't talking to any managers at all? And if they're saying they want to make decision in days and not months, I don't believe they haven't been speaking to another manager.
I mean,
You
if
there,
I have to
Jerry?
put my, yeah, I'm here, rational hat, or try to first dissect this question, I think, of course, because we are here and looking from far, and looking at the reports of whoever we know, if someone knows someone, right? Of
Yeah,
course, I'm
all
sure.
opinions and speculations.
Correct. That's correct. Someone can be right, wrong. That's fine. But we are all examining with our lens, or however we interpret, right? So to your question, for sure. I mean, at least that's what I think. They definitely know the situation, and I don't believe that the talk that they had today was probably, I mean, came to the sporting directors or the owners as a surprise, right? I believe that they knew what Pochettino is thinking. I'm sure they had a conversation, one or two
Or
here or
maybe
there.
Pochettino knew what they were thinking.
Perhaps. Yes, they
Jerry,
might be surprised if Pochettino never talked or opened his mouth, which is not his DNA. But and yeah, sorry, the original question was, were they, as Roger has always
Do you think?
always
Do you think? I'm not saying for certain that's the case. Do you think, or do you believe that they weren't talking to any managers before, and they didn't know that it was going to get to that? I think I'd say chances are they know, and that's
uh,
because
as
we
far
didn't
as sorry.
we didn't start hearing about Pochettino's potential departure from the club today. It's been
I cannot
there
say if they
for
were
months.
talking, because it depends on, again, the organization and how they go about their business. But I'm sure that they were keeping an eye, or through their agents or scouts were talking,
they
or
have a
keeping the,
contingency shortlist for sure.
correctly, you said it in a
Okay,
better
Rosa did say
ability.
that.
So
Yeah.
they were like tapping, you can say, had to tap the potential managers, or they were in the pipeline. So I cannot say they were talking, perhaps to a manager, and if that manager I had to name, I won't be surprised. It's probably deserving.
I
Mm.
mean, it sounds
Because of Win
believable.
Stanley, there's what you would call in diplomatic terms, um, what is it called? Backroom talks. This is what probably happens in back channels. They're called back channels where it's
And
not official.
they wield great influence with regards
Yeah,
to.
because Win Stanley and De Zerbi, they probably have each other's. Just like a lot of them, they are able to access a lot of, shall we say, contacts through mutual, um, 6 degrees of separation, so to speak. It's a lot less than that in this kind of industry. It's very easy for them to put feelers out. Hypothetically, Win Stanley could either know him, or one of his mutual contacts would know him and put the feeler out. Unofficially. I mean, this happens day in, day out. I'm sure in this industry, just not through
Wow.
official channels, through back channels.
Yeah, I mean, the simple language is, you know someone who knows someone. That,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're not talking mafia here, right?
yeah, exactly. The more
Yeah,
relatable language, but I understand
like
what you
I
mean.
think most of the fan base are not in favor, including myself. But then, after talking to a few people, and I have to credit them. I mean, you guys don't know, so it's not my idea, but they ingrained that idea in me to open up to Deserby. They said the following. I mean, okay, we might have whatever reservations on Deserby, right? But if you see, it would, you can say, the environment will be optimal for him. You see the point,
Yes,
right?
yeah, I
Because
totally
of the
agree with you.
sporting directors and all, so many players that have already worked with him. So even though we might not rate him or think he don't have the experience at the highest level, or maybe he plays a very high press, whatever, and we think it won't, be sustainable. But these factors, I was
Jerry,
thinking before, but when some people talked to me, they said, look, sporting director,
J-
structure,
J- Jerry,
right?
do you also think that because of, I believe he coached Muderik in Turkey, correct? Or I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
he did.
in
Yeah, in Ukraine.
Ukraine, I mean, not Turkey. What am I saying?
Yeah,
Ukraine.
Mudryk played his best football under him.
Yeah. So do you think that's a factor to say, you know what, we
Can we
have
name
made a
all of
major.
them? Name all the players that played under him, just to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
clear. Not just Mudryk. Levi Colwell,
yes,
Moises Caicedo.
yeah,
I think
obviously.
even
Cucurella.
the David Luiz cousin, in hair, because of his hair. Marco
So
Grandima.
Cucurella.
that's a solid case, I would say, right there, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, the fact that maybe because of the fact that we've spent a pretty penny on Mudryk, perhaps that they believe that this man can bring out the best in him and unlock him. And they probably have come to him and said, "How do you get on with De Zerbi?" You know, he probably has given him a glowing report card, and that probably doesn't hurt his case. Is he the right man for the job? Well, at least he's got Premier League experience. I'm not sure I would classify him as elite, but I wouldn't judge him also on Brighton's season because of guess why? Because they've lost so many integral players. Plus, they had Europe for the first time. So I, I think
You
that's
probably don't have enough depth to deal with the Premier
yeah,
League and
the
Europe at
squad.
the
Of
same
course they
time.
didn't. So I think it would be unfair for us to judge him based on Brighton's season. But I don't know. Maybe he can take us to the promised land. I just
So,
think
as we are talking on the managers, just a short question to
sure.
both of you, or also Ty. So, who is yours, if you have figured out the standout candidate or someone you would like to
Let us
take
start
over?
with Roger. Just go ahead with Roger.
I'm really not 100% sure. Um, heart wise, but I'm not thinking with my heart, it would be Tuchel, but that would never come to fruition. First of all, he wouldn't accept it. And B, I don't think he's the right man for the job. But based on what he's done for us, I think he would give it his all. But I'm not sure that they would even consider even interviewing him,
If
let
they
alone
consider him, I think it would be probably a politically driven decision just
perhaps.
to appease the fans. But go ahead with what you were saying,
Yeah,
Roger.
perhaps Allegri to a certain extent, but I don't think he suits the project, and he wouldn't get on with our sporting directors. He's well known for, shall we say, being hard to work with. Um, it's hard to say. Definitely not Gareth Southgate. But I do want to say one thing. I do want to say one thing though. I would prefer a more pragmatic coach, someone that is more defense orientated, because I'm not saying that I take the old
Then you
adage
should
that
talk about Allegri. Allegri is your man in
yeah,
terms of
no,
defensive
yeah,
approach.
no, and most Italian coaches are because the Italian philosophy has always been if you don't concede, you don't lose, and whether it's pretty or not on the eye is irrelevant, you know. But I would want someone far more defensive orientated per se, and I'm not sure who would fit that. Now, now the chap from Portugal, um, he plays with a
Amorim.
back, yeah, he plays with a back 3/5, which I like that. But do we have the personnel, and does that also detract from us, perhaps playing with what I would consider a forward-heavy squad based on talent-wise? Because I think our weakest part of the entire squad is definitely the centre backs, at least thus far. Who knows? They could turn out to be John Terry's next year. One doesn't know. But based on historically, I would want someone to put our defense as a priority. But I'm being biased because of the position I played.
Yeah, let's give those in the chat the microphone.
Coach,
Hold on.
sorry, don't
Yeah, go
hide
ahead.
away.
Were you
Don't hide
speaking?
away. Please have your candidate as well. And
Yeah, nice
I
try,
know you.
coach.
I know, Coach. I know you now. Sharing the
Jesse,
platform and talking with you for the last 10, 11 months. At least I know that.
yeah, Jerry, he should do 10 push ups at least for that.
Yeah, on camera too.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing. Honestly, I don't. I think I've been asked that question, let's say 1,000 times months ago, and I've been saying not much like about 2, 3 months right now, and I've been telling people I'm not too sure. Then I haven't started looking beyond Mauricio Pochettino. Even on X, Rodrigo, we call him Bobrigo, Rogers. Even when he asked me that, I said I don't know. And if you tell me about Amorim, I would say remember FVB. FVB won the Portuguese league without losing a single game. What
Yeah.
happened when he came to Chelsea? What happened when he got another chance at Tottenham?
Coach, can I just
And
quickly
that's not
say,
to say if he comes, he's not going to shock everybody and become one of the best managers we've ever had.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead, Rodney was saying something.
So would anyone object? I'm not saying he would come to our club, but would anyone object with Villa's coach,
Who?
Unai Emery?
I wouldn't. I
No.
wouldn't. I would say get him. He's
Yeah, yeah.
experienced.
He's a brilliant coach.
Yeah, he's a
At
brilliant.
least we know
Because
he's a great
tactically, he's
tactician,
brilliant. He
right?
can play good football. He can play dirty to win games. He knows how to be pragmatic. And I think
Y-
that's something we lacked to a certain extent under Mauricio Pochettino.
And he's won a lot of silverware, especially
Yep,
European.
Europe. Yep. And look what he did with Aston Villa. I think the last game, they lost that game probably because,
Oh
they've
yeah,
taken their foot off the pedal.
yeah. Listen, I'm not going to judge him on a 5-0 beating.
No, it doesn't
Exactly.
matter. They're playing in the
Emi
Champions League.
Martinez was
If
not
they
there,
lost
so
20
we can
goals
cut
to
him some
nothing on that
slack.
day.
Yeah, exactly. Martinez didn't even play. The goalkeeper was.
I
Yeah.
would take him, honestly.
Actually, to be honest with you,
And I would
because
take
of the
Roger. Let
fact,
me say this: I would take him over Hansi Flick.
yeah, the fact that
I'm
he's
serious.
got tremendous European experience in knockout tournament, but he's also got Premier League experience. To me, if I had to, I don't know what his contract is with Villa, how much it would cost to buy him out. But if I had to choose, if I was a sporting director, obviously Coachella would be my tea lady, and Emery would be my manager. If I had to pick
I
one.
love
I really
Emery. I
appreciate
think
it.
he's
It's
underrated.
a great call
I,
from
I
Roger. I
I
have
think
to
he's
say. But
underrated, and Arsenal didn't give him enough time there.
but
And
unfortunately, like he is with Villa, and I have to check again. I believe he recently signed
yeah,
a
I think he did.
contract extension, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
but it's money. You have to pay them to get them. If you
And
pay,
coach, don't forget, I like honey in my tea, not sugar. Don't forget that.
I don't do sugar too. I think since 2014, since I got married, I haven't tasted raw sugar except every now and then outside. I'll just say, please just. I tell my wife, please just let me do this. Um, but Roger, I'll take Unai Emery even over Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick doesn't know how to be pragmatic. That's not to say that he won't change if it comes to the Premier League. And rumors are that he wants the Premier League experience. And I think who said that he's open to coming to the Premier League if the right opportunity opens up. But we've been
Okay,
seeing him.
do you think
Yeah, go ahead.
Unai Emery is someone that can work with our sporting directors? Is he the
I
type
think
of
he has the tools. Most important thing for him there is the squad, and he
sure?
has the
But
squad
I'm
there.
talking about his personality. Do you think
I think he
he would?
can. He doesn't. I think he doesn't talk too much. Actually,
Yeah, he doesn't come across as being contentious at all.
yeah, he comes across as manager who's focused on his squad.
Just
Yeah,
curious. That's all.
yeah. I
And
think
he has
he's
also
an excellent tactician. He's
worked in
proved
PSG,
that.
so he has already gone through the worst of the worst structure.
Yeah,
You see the point, right?
definitely.
Yeah, I think yes. Then we will focus. If you have any questions with regards to the situation, put it in the chat. We'll try to answer it because during the Blue Morning show, we will make a banner for all the managers. You can say potential replacements for Mauricio Pochettino and talk about them in detail. Look at what they've done at whatever club they've coached. Amorim to. Sebastian, how do you pronounce his last name? A German name, Hoynes, I think.
Yeah. But by the way,
So,
can I just quickly say something? Sky
yeah.
Sports showed earlier this evening that they listed, as they always do, the British bookies, the betting companies. I
Mhm.
believe De Zerbi is the favorite. And usually the betting companies, they don't usually get it wrong.
And Thomas Tuchel is like in the fourth place, right? So I
Yeah,
think I did see a
exactly.
snippet of that.
Yes.
Roger, I think it may well be deserving.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. Listen, I will give him. I'll be open-minded, of course, like with any coach we get. But I would be somewhat apprehensive. I would prefer probably Emery over him, definitely. But who knows? All I want is that whoever our next coach is given a fair shake in time, not to be fired after 10 games or 15 games. I'm looking for stability and longevity. That's what I'm looking for.
Can I ask you this, Roger? Before I continue to read what we have in the chat there, let me ask you this specifically. I know you haven't done that. You've always said you're not poaching in, you're not poach out.
Yeah.
And we've all agreed the injuries we had throughout the season, averaging 8 players per game out with injury or with injuries 8 per game. A very young squad, an entirely new squad, and all other factors we've talked about. What went wrong for Pochettino?
So it's technically 51 games.
Beyond those things I've mentioned, those factors I've mentioned, what went wrong? Because he
So
wasn't perfect. You
it's
just said that yourself today.
yeah, it's 414 players lost in 51 games. That's an average of 8.06. 195 more injuries than our opposition. I would say this is a huge contributing factor. That doesn't mean to
We agree
say
with that,
that,
but
that
on his
doesn't.
part, anything you would blame on him that's
So
beyond the injuries.
sure, that doesn't mean to say that had he had 0 injuries, we wouldn't have ended up 12th. One doesn't know. So I'm not saying factually we can say that. Obviously, the lack of leadership on the pitch, all around the pitch, with the exception, obviously, of Silva, I think that's a huge factor. I think for the most part, you can't really put too many of the dropped points, whether that's losses or draws, on the coaching staff. Yes, I got to admit there are times when I didn't like the fact that he made substitutions after the 75th minute or so. I'm not, listen, he has made substitutes at the 55, 60th minute and so forth, but perhaps that. I would say the one thing that I wanted him to do that he never did was switch to a back three just to see how it would work. I know at times it was fluid and there was a back three the first 5 games. And we did, especially that Liverpool opening game, we looked very stout defensively. Um, Listen, I honestly believe that the vast majority of credit and blame should always go to the players because of the fact they have to execute, you know, or don't execute, as the case may be. And so I believe that a coaching staff slash manager is responsible for getting the players ready, both tactically, philosophically, and psychologically ready for a game. Like when you see a team show up and they're flat,
Mhm.
that's the coaching staff's responsibility. When I say coaching staff, I'm not just talking about Poch. I'm talking about their positional coaches also. That's their responsibility. I look at, for the most part, that these players were playing for the manager and coaching staff. Did he make tactical errors? Yes. I would say not to the point that it was integral in us not qualifying for Europe or winning the league. Just my honest opinion. Could he have done better? Yes, most doubtedly so. I don't doubt that because he's human. Pep has made mistakes. You share Klopp has made mistakes. Every coach will make mistakes, but I believe also he gets too much credit for bringing on subs that score and make a difference because that's
Mhm.
what they're supposed to do. You know my philosophy.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
understand.
I honestly don't believe that. I would have loved to have seen him start next year with assuming we have a relatively healthy squad, to see where he can indeed take us. I don't think that I can honestly say objectively that he is the main reason we ended up sixth. I don't believe that's the case. Um, do I think he could have done a better job? Possibly, yes, but not to the point that it would have made us contenders for the title. And don't forget, he's in his first year learning the squad, learning the players, etc. And so, um, no, I think it's because of these reasons, not excuses, but reasons for having the youngest squad by far, you know, and having, listen, we played 15 times out of 51 games where we played with a starting 11 of 23 or under. Think about that. That's incredible. So listen, I have no idea. Because of the World Club Cup in 12 months or 13 months' time is played, we have to get it right.
Oh,
This
how
next
long from
appointment,
now?
and indeed this transfer window upcoming, that we have to, more importantly, I
It's
believe,
June
What
next
Club
year.
Cup? How long
yeah,
from now, Roger?
exactly.
1 year, 13 months.
Yeah, 30 months. I believe getting the players out of this club, certain players like the Woolly Mammoth, etc., is the most important thing, more so than adding players, I believe. I think the back office has to get this right, in addition to hiring the correct coaching staff.
Yeah, we can't afford to make a
Just
mistake
my
with the
3
manager
cents worth,
again.
gentlemen.
We cannot afford making the mistake with the manager again.
Sorry, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think we stopped. Do you guys? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? What's his name? Can you hear me?
Coach, I can't hear you.
Jerry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Roger
Okay,
cannot hear me.
I think
No,
Coach
we
is
can all hear
talking.
you. I believe, right?
Yeah,
Roger
I'm
can
looking
hear
at
me.
the thing, and Coach was talking, but it was no volume. But anyway, so
Coach reacted as if they have already announced De Zerbi.
No, no. Roger, can you
I
hear me
think
now?
we should rename this show to Pick on Coach Show. I don't know.
Roger,
It's,
can you
it's
hear
going to be a
me?
very interesting next few months, gentlemen, for all the wrong reasons, I believe. It's sad. I just wanted to see what we could do with a coach that I believe is best suited to, shall we say, improve the very young players. And I say this because not of his tenure with Spurs, but it's because of his tenure with Southampton. Because if you look at the amount of players that left that Southampton team and went on to be successful players for Liverpool and other teams, it's quite impressive.
Yeah, Roger, can you hear me now?
Maybe.
Okay, maybe it's the other window, the other. All right, let me catch up with what we have in the chat. If you have questions, drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we have to round off in a few minutes because we still have to do the Blue Morning Show where we start. We're supposed to do the player review and a rating, but I think we have to wait until we have to discuss the manager options because we heard they're going to make decision in days, not in months, or not even weeks. Actually, we're told. And let's see what else do I have to. Ty says here. Let's read this one. An interesting comment there from Ty. He's saying Chelsea has fallen from choosing between Real Madrid managers and Juventus managers, etc., to fans having to watch highlights on Ipswich and Stuttgart
Yeah.
to know the pattern of play for the managers we're being linked with. I think the Ipswich one, I wouldn't say it's not believable. It's believable, given that even Fabrizio Romano said it. I don't think it makes sense to doubt whatever he says about transfers and managers. He almost always gets it correct. So I calls it, but I'm not sure. Ty, but
Actually,
that's
just to
hilarious.
quickly add in, I was just observing that many people have this. I'm not at all saying or addressing this to Ty. I mean, including myself, like look down on such managers, right? That they are from this league or they have just done this. But I think this is a false narrative, because of course we can vividly remember the managers, especially Chelsea had. But if we go some of the examples like Pep Guardiola, Zinedine Zidane, they were just in the B division and then they were managing both Barca and Real Madrid. No experience anywhere else, right? I'm just saying, so there are examples, as I said, Zidane, Guardiola, same like this Ipswich. Sorry if I don't properly maybe pronounce Ipswich. It's Ipswich, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not
Manager.
easy to pronounce.
So you got the point, right? So
Yes.
we don't know. I think this, I believe there's always a risk element, but as I said, there are many examples of such managers, including the two managers I named, who just coached in Barca B or Real Madrid, and then straight went to the A team, the main team, and that's it. Nothing else, no more exposure, no more experience. So there are examples of both sides that we have seen managers with experience who came and performed, and managers with experience who came and flopped. And similarly, managers like Zidane, Guardiola, without any exposure to a first league, did wonders. So we cannot tell, we cannot say for sure. So at least
I
this is my
agree.
perspective, that it's not correct to just look down on the McKennas of this world or other profiles and just say who they are. We haven't heard of them. Again, I'm not pointing this to anyone. It's also to me, for me to learn as well, just to rule everyone out. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Because we have to see. I think we have to do the research.
Yeah, Waldo saying that why would De Zerbi come to Chelsea when he literally demolished us with negative comments in a press conference? I think that was a while ago, and his tone has changed. And the fact that his tone has changed and talking about how good the players we've signed, how good they are, that also gets me. It's, you can say I'm inclined to believe that yeah, it looks like he's going to be our next manager, because why would he just uh, change his tone with regards to how much we spent and everything the players was signed? I'm not sure what to make of it, but that's for me. It's a sign that he may well be joining Chelsea. Yeah, if the board gets deserving chances, that they do that, and we're is saying here. Let's see what we have to say. Poch ruined our youth. Broya, Hall, and Ian Matson. Wow, that's some complaint right there. I'm going to go to the very bottom. We don't have too much time. We need to take a break, and I need to take a break to be able to do some research, create the thumbnail, and prepare for the show tomorrow, 3 a.m. my time. That's less than 6 hours from actually. Wally Waldo, I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. There's multiple managers that want the Chelsea job, which include Hansi Flick, Tuchel, and Conte, according to what we've heard. But we've also heard that they're not interested. They're not interested in the likes of Hansi Flick, Tuchel, Conte, all the big names, except Division 3 managers and all the names we've heard out there. Chelsea Sessions, okay, just having a conversation. Let me read this from Wira. We need a manager to come in and develop a playing identity. De Zerbi wouldn't have won an FA Cup final, but at least we wouldn't need 2 years of Poch to know who is his starting 11. That happened for some reasons. The injuries didn't help, and other factors too. Nemaya Fowler, nice to see you. Coach, big up to you too. I hope you're doing well. A crazy decision, you think? And I don't believe for 1 second that we'll be selling Trevor Chalobah for £25 million. I think that's absolute donk. Knowing the new owners and knowing the fact that Chalobah his contract is still has a long way to go. The Zervi hasn't got a plan B, in my opinion. And after speaking to lots of Brighton fans, said that he rode with the Brighton CEO. Rode, I'm not sure what to make of that, but okay.
Row,
What?
row to argue.
To argue, okay. Okay. Thank you so much for the
But,
correction.
but, but
Route? Did you
Chelsea
say it's
Football Club
pronounced
is his
Route,
home.
Roger?
This is his
Sorry?
home. If he comes here,
It's pronounced Route.
it's his home. It's his family.
To row with someone.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. You were saying something, Jersey.
No, I was just making it a little humorous. I was just saying that I also read this report that De Zerbi is also a little bit fiery, can have an altercation. But I said if he comes here, he's coming to home. He's coming to his family.
Given the players that's walked under him that we have within our ranks, I think, I mean, that's another way to see it. There's a lot to catch up, and I just cannot read everything, and we have to call it a day, get some rest. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll be we'll be paying attention to what's going on to see, discuss the potential replacements for Mauricio Pochettino. But right now, we're not too sure. The list is not that many names on the list, but still huge. But I'm not sure how they're going to be able to get that done within days. To me, that shows they've been talking to them for a while now, right now. Roger, anything else you want to say before we call it a day?
Yeah, I'd like to ask everyone.
We need to be calling tonight.
Sorry? What did you say? I
We
actually
need to
forgot.
be calling tonight.
Yeah,
Cut it
Ty
at
and I
night.
would have preferred another 1 or 2 hour. It's a historic night of celebration, contention, satisfaction,
Yeah, but
rejuvenation. So
people have
What,
to rest. For Roger, it is, I think, around 2 a.m. right now. So I
it's
don't.
the same. If I believe you're in UK, so
3:30?
I'm as well. So it's 3:32 a.m., coach,
Yeah,
and I have
exactly.
a
Yeah,
work. I have work at 9 a.m. I'm
exactly. So
here.
you have to sleep. So yeah, Roger, ask your question, please,
How
bro.
can I sleep when Poch is gone?
You
Wow, definitely a potch out for sure.
Bills don't pay themselves.
Um,
Any coach.
what,
Bills
what,
don't pay themselves.
what do you think the time frame is for getting on next head coach?
I think it's impossible to time it really. It could happen anytime. It could happen
Tuesday.
by
I'm
tomorrow.
saying Tuesday.
But if it happened tomorrow,
Tuesday.
certainly they'll be speaking with the person in question.
When does our mini
Even if it
camp?
happens Tuesday too, Ty.
No, I'm asking because when does our mini camp start? When do we start the American tour?
Let
Uh,
me check Chelsea. Let me
in
check
July, I
Chelsea's
believe,
schedule. That
right?
will give us an idea.
Yeah, I know it's after the
Yeah, let me check
I think
European
Chelsea's
I think we
schedule.
Champions.
will. Again, it's just a
Definitely
speculation.
after
I think that
Mauricio
I think
Pochettino
we
comes
will
back a soccer
announce
game.
the head coach next week. I think next week we will
We'll
announce.
have a game in July 24th against Wrexham.
That's why I
Wrexham.
said next week Tuesday. That's my
Next week
prediction.
Tuesday. Is that what it is? 24th July.
Wow,
24th July.
So by the end of this month, I believe they will announce the new head coach manager.
wow, that's soon.
They said days, so probably if it could happen tomorrow, it could happen Tuesday. And Ty said Tuesday, yep. And if it happens tomorrow, even in a week's time, it simply means they've been talking with the manager in question. I don't,
I think
I
Deserve is coming.
possibly. It looks
I
like
think
it.
is a strong possibility, but with
That
this
is to be
team, who
deserved.
knows?
Wow. And that's already he says something. So we're gonna play Real Madrid too. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, we
And
are.
Man City in August, Real Madrid in August, Club America. Wow, Celtic. But the one I don't want to, the Real Madrid, where?
Sorry.
You know what people were theorizing, and I was
Manchester
Yeah,
United.
I
theorizing
think
Manchester
this
Darwin
Stadium.
is
week.
also. He just told me yesterday, I believe, that he's trying to get a ticket for the Madrid game. So, Kuchila, maybe you can try and watch and cover some of the content, the clips, the videos of that game if
I
you
think
can go.
people create content when they came to Las Vegas. Rather, I was in the stadium with my wife, my kids. Uh, but I went live. Ankit was live. I joined them, and I think I joined. I joined what's his name? Uh, Greentoff also from the stadium on that.
What's his name? Oh gosh.
I'm a human being, Ty. I
Sleep
went blind.
deprivation, Ty.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. What my point is, I don't think they play any games in Las Vegas this time. But Copa America, some of the games will be played in the Las Vegas Stadium. I should make plans to cover some of the games.
By the way, Coach, did you hear the news about Reece James not being making the England squad? That's good news
Yep,
for us.
that's good
Yeah,
news for
that's
us.
a fantastic
Yeah,
news.
that's good
So,
news.
whoever the manager is going to be, more important, I believe, it's the same contract, 2 years, not another 5 year contract,
It's
right?
going to be a 2+1 for sure. I'll be very shocked if it's anything other than that. Do you agree?
It's gonna
Yes,
be
sir,
it's
exactly.
gonna be a short. They were never gonna give it. They're never gonna give any managers a long term contract again.
Well,
They learned
they
the
will.
hard way.
They will. Once they get the man that they know is, if we get someone that basically is the new Pep,
Actually,
hypothetically. Other than that, then yes, I agree. It's never going to happen.
I believe we just having this regret that I know some of you might not agree, really ruined or the opportunity to had Nagelsmann. I think he was a perfect candidate,
What?
especially for this
Is
young.
he your number one choice?
But
Uh,
they Nagelsmann
right
reject
now, I can
Chelsea.
see Blake, but he would be just right there because of the work that he has done. He's still young, both at Leipzig, Bayern Munich. He did fantastically at Bayern Munich. It was political right, and
Nagelsmann to Chelsea isn't happening, Jerry.
and he
It will
is
not
a manager who is very versatile, and he is like ahead of the curve as far as change and innovation is concerned. I personally believe he has a lot of which potential, and he is the next big manager. He's already a big manager. So
Where's he
uh,
working now?
he's a head coach of Germany, and
Oh, the national team.
yes, and he just recently, unfortunately, 2 or 3 weeks ago, extended the contract till the World Cup 26.
Mm.
So if I were in the board, I'm just saying, which I'm not, of course. I wish I would. If I go for any potential manager, give them a 2-year contract. If it works, fine. Or 2026, we have Nagelsmann. Anyhow, that's me. That's how I think. So yeah. So Ty, you haven't given us your preferred candidate.
Southgate, probably.
Ty, are you there?
Doesn't seem so.
So, because no one is here, so I will take the opportunity to ask this question, which was in my head. So, listening to the mainstream and some of the content creation.
To my mic, Jerry.
Okay, please go ahead. Please go ahead, Ty.
What you did? My mic wasn't unmuting. This
No,
this this
I just
software
asked that
doesn't like
if
me.
we all shared
Uh
some of our choices. So, who is your candidate to be our next manager?
um I uh my only options would be Flick, which is now unlikely, and Amorim, which is also not much of a possibility, unfortunately. But those are the only options. As you made a valid point about you can't judge managers based on where they managed before. But anything at this point would be experimental with any manager that is um, making his way up to the top flight league, which in this case would be the Ipswich manager. And well, I know they said Enzo Maresca, or if that's what it's pronounced, or
Leicester
Marseka. I don't.
coach,
I'm really not sure.
the
Yeah, the
Leicester
Leicester
City
City coach. I know that they said he's not really one of the options, but just an example, those managers are coming up, and to me, I feel as if going for a Kieran McKenna would be somewhat of a Potter thing, and he would be replicating what Potter did, which is making a big move when if you starting off small, even Lampard, trying to set your foundations, build your principles, and enhance them before you make that big move. It works for some managers. It obviously worked for Alonso because in a very short space of time, he made history. So it worked for some, but it you can't you can't take such a risk and expect to get those demands answered or fulfilled in the space of 10 months. It's not gonna happen with an experimental manager, or at least I don't think it will, because they're still finding their feet.
Yeah,
Look
Bobby
at
has
this one.
joined
If you
us,
have time, coach,
and I don't think
one
we can just
question.
round off without hearing from Bobby. Go ahead, Jerry Z. Let's hear you.
So I have delicious questions. I think I joined your stream after a long time, after a couple of months. So,
Mhm.
anyone can answer, starting from, of course, to the veteran Roger. So, as I have been following in all of us, I believe, as much as we could after the sacking of Pochettino. So there is this. I don't know if I'm using the right word, narrative, or this school of thought among a lot of journalists, Talk Sports, Sky, and some of the content creators that I'm just trying to ask this question. What do you really think is if there's some truth into that, and if this is something we should be concerned of, that if Pochettino really puts any kind of condition, open his mouth, discuss, and it was the end of Poch. It couldn't continue. So according to all these experts or the in the mainstream, they believe that the owners really don't want. In short, of course, you can say yes man, or someone who would even try to suggest something or give their input. They don't want that. Do you think there is some truth into that? And should we be concerned then? And is that the reason why Tuchel's and Flicks of the world would not come here?
Let Roger start with that
I
one.
hope
I'm sure
that's
I'm
not the
just
case. I really do, because that doesn't bode well for our future.
It's a good point. And just like Roger, I hope that's not the case, but I don't think it is right now. In all honesty, Tuchel, if he gets the opportunity, I'm quite sure he would want to come back. And rumors are that he feels like he has unfinished business at Chelsea, and if the opportunity calls, he would gladly take the job. We have Bobby in the house. We can't round off without Bobby speaking. I wanted to round. I wanted us to round off, and then I see that he was backstage. I'm not sure how long he's been there. Hopefully not too long, because I don't want to fight with Bobby. Bobby, big up to you. I appreciate you finding the time to join us. If you're able to speak, hopefully you won't struggle with unmuting your microphone. We want to hear what you make of the situation and the options being possible replacements being mentioned in the media. If you're there, let's hear you. I think it will take him a while to unmute his microphone. I'm seeing right now. Whenever you're ready, Bobby. Let's see
Can you
what
hear me?
Wally Waldo is saying here. Wally Waldo is
Can
saying
you hear me?
because he didn't.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Bobby, if you're there.
All right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of still digesting this situation. I'm looking at the permutations, the reasons. I don't look at things in the immediate. I'm trying to imagine um, what must have transpired and what the potential strategy might be. Um, Not least to mention, maybe involvement in transfer markets and so on, as people are speculating. But I try to think even further. I think the World Club Cup in 2025, which is a summer tournament, and would overlap with any potential contract extension to Pochettino, may have been an influencer. I'm not saying it's the total reason, but it may have been an influencer in this, in that they've looked at this situation and they've seen that come June 2025, when they've got people like Esteval William joining, and this is really taking the format of a club World Cup. Um, they're not in it to play. Chelsea has to be in it to win it. The whole Champions League setup, I think they have been watching the Champions League. They are seeing that that is where we are really supposed to be. There's all sorts of situations. Long and short of it all, a sixth place finish, as Poch said himself, is not good enough for Chelsea. Having said that, in my mind, I find it pretty curious that they would want to make any such change at this stage. I just don't fully understand the reason to ditch somebody who was beginning to find their feet. I wasn't really a Poch in the first place. But since they went down that road, I think it's almost an admission of their own shortcomings that they even could contemplate that it didn't work. Look, we are where we are, aren't we? I mean, this is Chelsea all over. I thought that these people had come in to not be hire and fire, change managers every 6 seconds like the previous regime. Um,
Ditto.
if an, if anything, what they are doing is showing themselves to be worse. Roman pulled the plaster off quickly. This lot, I don't really, nobody really knows what they're after. At least you knew that Roman needed a successful, established person in managing his team. Nobody really knows where these people are going, who they're looking at. And it seems that money is no option to them. They're very happy to pay the 1 year compensation for Pochettino. Should they want this what's the name of that German Honer, the
Sebastian Hunes. I can't
Stuttgart.
pronounce it. Sorry.
Well, he's just signed a contract extension, so that's going to be massively expensive. If they want Nagelsmann, which is an almost impossible situation because of his commitments to the national team, that's also another massive situation. I think it would be Potter like, as has been said, to go for the Ipswich manager. It's ridiculous. Chelsea is a multilingual team. You need somebody with that skill of speaking different languages in the dressing room. My deepest concern here is De Zerbi walking through the door. All the ducks just seem lined up for that, and I'm not happy with that either. I think it'll be much of the same if we. De Zerbi and Pochettino to me are two faces on the same coin. I can't
Pochettino is
see.
even better than him, in my opinion.
You think De Zerbi is better than Pochettino?
No, I think Pochettino is better than Deservi.
Yeah, I think so. I think Pochettino, and he's beaten him. He's proved that on the pitch. He's beaten him every
Yeah.
time. So but I can see that. The sporting directors and their Brighton lineage is and the way De Zerbi terminated his contract with Brighton. I don't like it. I think it's very mediocre. And if they're looking for exponential success, I just don't see it. I don't see it with him either. I really don't. I would have rather stuck with Pochettino. But let me not preempt anything. Who else is out there? That's the big question. Amorin, I think he signed an extension as well. So
Did he? This is the first time I'm hearing that.
I think so. I think he said he wanted to stay at Sporting, didn't he? So, Amorin is the untested entity here. But the problem is, you also need somebody with an insight into the Premier League. I think this move is almost like going back to the drawing board and starting again. The only difference is that the players are now a year into the Premier League. But it's a weird situation. I don't know how I feel, to be honest. Am I pleased about it? No, I'm not sure it's the right move. I'm really not sure it's the right move.
I think
But
it's potentially a step back, but I think it's mutually. You know, I think it wasn't a firing per se. I could be wrong, but from
well,
the
they said it was mutually agreed, but
mm,
on what basis was that mutual agreement reached? There must have been a disagreement for them.
no,
It's
certainly
like saying, we agree to disagree.
And
Um,
chances are he's the one that said, you know what, I don't think this works out for me. And going by what he said in one of his presses of late, saying he could also walk, not just the
yeah,
owners deciding to fire him. You never know.
yeah, yeah. It's not. For once, I would have to agree with what some of our greatest detractors in the media are saying, because this looks like a chaotic situation. It doesn't look stable. It doesn't look like a move for stability. Now it could end up being the best thing Chelsea ever did if they pick the right manager. But who is this right manager?
it's a big if, Bobby.
Exactly. These people aren't necessarily um, like apples on trees. I don't know. I'm very um, wait and see about all of this. I really am. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you this
Amarin,
quickly, Bobby.
yeah.
Would you say that the next manager will have a much easier job? Not much easier, probably a slightly easier job. That's because the team is a bit more rehearsed than uh, it was when Pochettino took over.
Yes, he will. It's quite clear he would. Pochettino has softened the path for the
Even he
next.
referenced that in his farewell message that Chelsea is now
Yeah,
ready. Yeah, but go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, for sure. Pochettino has softened the path. What they need to ensure is that players are fit. I think it's an important thing, albeit it was a very necessary thing. It was a very necessary thing that Reece James and Ben Chilwell don't go on international
exactly.
break. I've noticed Nico Jackson's comment as to the sacking of Pochettino. You know, these guys liked him, and he's just put this face slapping emoji. They liked him. It's going to be a curious situation. It really is. I just hope it doesn't destabilize, these kids. Kids need stability. They don't need chopping and changing. It affected our mature players, not to mention these young players. And yet again, we're fueling a potential culture of player power. If players see that a manager can be sacked for frivolous reasons, they could, if they don't like you, create those frivolous reasons.
What do you think really happened? If you're saying frivolous reasons, what do you think led to Mauricio Pochettino getting sacked, Bobby?
Several things. I think a major hammer blow to his Chelsea career was not winning the Carabao Cup. I know how I felt about it. I can
Hmm.
imagine
I
what
don't.
the ownership and the sporting director felt about it. Chelsea is not about falling flat on your face, not six times in a row at Wembley, and not four times to Liverpool. There was a lot more at stake at that final than just prestige. So that was a major blow to him. Then another thing that hit him is all these draws and losses to lower league sides. The 2-2 draw at Sheffield United was not acceptable. The loss at home to Nottingham Forest, not so acceptable. And indeed to Villa, was it a loss or a draw? All
Draw.
these sort of weird results. The draw against Burnley, not acceptable. And this is what kept us out of the Champions League positions. When you really think about it, gathering full points from those games, and we would be fourth even. So, okay, the mitigating circumstance has got to be the injuries, and I think it may be left to be seen. These people saying that his training regime exacerbated the injuries. I don't think so because
We had
um,
more injuries before, Bobby.
exactly. I think the injuries are a mitigating circumstance.
Sure.
However, when you snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, vis-a-vis Sheffield United away, vis-a-vis Carabao Cup final, vis-a-vis Burnley, then that is enraging, and your competence is under scrutiny. Having said that, how Chelsea sporting directors are very powerful. Chelsea has now become a dimensional club where decisions aren't made by one person, and the sporting directors are very, very powerful. And if they are not happy with you, it seems quite clear that even the likes of the chairman, Todd Bowley, can't really save you. Because from what I'm perceiving, Bowley liked Poch. I'm not sure Igbali did, and and I think the sporting directors were quite scrutinous of his performance. That's how it's come across to me. Look, onwards and upwards. The issue is who's next. because my concern is we're going to be treading water. Fortunately, we have a preseason coming up. Fortunately, the transfer market hasn't opened yet, so this needs to be solved now to get this guy in so we can all start talking transfers. But it's all too much back to the drawing board. We're doing what we did in the beginning, whereas we should be that step ahead, which is the big concern here.
I'm going to ask you something
Yeah,
as I
I
was asking.
totally agree, Bobby. It feels like, and I echo your sentiments. This doesn't mean that our next managerial hire won't take us to the promised land, but just currently, it just feels like we've gone 2 years back, as if the start of the project again.
Yeah,
This is what it
yeah.
feels like, and I don't think we can afford that. It's going to be
Yeah.
Bobby,
harder because we've got Europe
Roger,
next
can you
year
hear me?
also.
Coach was
Don't
trying
think.
was
No,
what
no.
was
Can you, Roger, go ahead. I was just testing whether you guys could hear me. Go ahead, Roger.
I just feel because, listen, it was hard enough for these young players without Europe. Now we have Europe on Thursdays. So whichever tournament it is, it doesn't bode well. It's going to be much
See,
harder.
another thing that concerns me is they're saying they're looking for a young, inexperienced coach when we've gone
Yeah,
into Europe. It
Did
all
they
just
did
seems
they really use the
naive
language
at best, stupid
inexperienced?
at worst.
well.
Yes,
That's
according
what
to various top
Fabrizio.
journalists, if the reports are true, they have said an upcoming progressive new
Yeah.
manager, young manager. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
well,
all over.
fair enough because they're looking at what Xavi Alonso did at Leverkusen. But playing Thursday in Europe, one thing I think they're underestimating is the intensity and the demands of the Premier League injected into an intense European program and injected into the domestic cups. You've got to be some manager to handle all of that with a young team. This is where the team fitness is vital. But even if the team is fit, that's some going. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Bobby, can you imagine if we had Europe this season under Poch with all the injuries we had?
it
There's
would
no
have been
way.
impossible. It would
Yeah,
have been impossible.
I think we'll
exactly.
be disgraced actually because
Sorry, Bobby.
We would
we're
have
not
been
going to
out
be.
early. I
Yeah,
don't know if we'd have been disgraced, but I think we would have been out early because the team just quite simply couldn't cope with that level of demand. It's going to
Right.
be interesting. We're Chelsea forever, we know this, but it is frustrating because stability does help. And we've never known stability for more than 20 years in the managerial department. It's been constant change. And even I'm getting fed up with it. I'm bored with it, to be honest.
And this is what I've been relishing,
even
to be
those that
honest
were
with you.
calling for him to be fired
Once
are
this
fed
new
up with it.
regime came,
Sorry, Roger,
not
go
that I
ahead.
didn't appreciate Abramovich, but I was yearning for stability. Someone that could have a tenure of 5 to 10 years, and obviously with that success.
Yeah, I mean, there are two things I'm concerned with here. I hope to God they're not looking at De Zerbi, and I also hope to God they're not looking at Vincent Company. I really don't
No,
want to see that sort of nonsense at Chelsea. I just
They're not looking at company
no, they're
deserve
not.
it, but the deserve that one I cannot guarantee you that tomorrow we're not gonna see an
see
announcement
that.
that
Yeah,
he become
Bobby,
our next manager.
he's the bookmaker's favorite, and
Yeah,
usually the
yeah,
bookmakers get it right.
yeah. This is the concern, and this Ipswich guy. I
Maybe I
mean,
should put some
really.
money, on Deserby.
Yeah, I mean that's a concern for me. I will feel worse seeing De Zerbi walk through the door than I did seeing Poch. Now, will I support him? Of course I will, but will
and
it
he's made
be
some stupid comment. I don't think the Chelsea fans will like.
no, no, we don't
I have more
he
Sorry,
reservations about
this is
him.
also interesting. I mean, with Pochettino. Sorry to interrupt. Just a few seconds. It took so long, and even until the end, the fan base really didn't accept Pochettino. So, although it's not the same Tottenham links, but we know the relation with Brighton, what he has said, as you just mentioned. So, if it didn't work or we don't get a good start, then again it can get toxic with De Zerbi. That's one important factor.
Yeah, given things he said too, it will get toxic easily. Given that he said he just plays to enjoy himself. He doesn't play to win. Plus, all the stuff he said, given how much we spent, the players were signed, and all those things.
You know, another very annoying thing or another very disturbing thing. There were those Chelsea fans who just made up their mind and that was it. Even if Pochettino won the Premier League, the Champions League, the World Club Cup, the Super Cup all at once in one sitting, they still would have wanted him out, and there were
Yeah.
a few of them. But the thing is that Poch, by the end of the season, had put himself in a position where many fans, including myself, were quite prepared for him to continue. He had won over the fan base. Really, there was a massive poll, I think, done on
Yeah,
X with twenty
he's
five
won
thousand
majority.
people. Yeah,
Mhm.
a massive poll done with 25,000 Chelsea fans
Oh,
on X.
really?
I've forgotten who it was by. Yeah. And 78% of the fan base said he should
Yeah.
continue.
It will
That
be interesting to see if he has won over the Manchester United board or not.
Well, I think Man United is a toxic situation. It's not their board is another chaotic setup.
They're
I'm not.
like Bayern Munich in that regard.
I think they're worse.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
they make they are a burial ground to many a good manager. They
Poison
destroy good
chalice.
managers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not. I think where he would love to go would probably be Bayern. I'm not sure he would really accept the Man United situation right now. But it depends how they sell it to him. I don't know. I don't know. I feel a bit sorry for him. I really have to say that because the cards were stacked against this guy. I don't know. I'm not too. This doesn't give me joy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I'm worried in the fact that, in all likelihood, I'm not saying it's going to transpire, but in all likelihood, we're going to take a step back next year. And my expectations of realistically making it challenging for top four is probably not going to come to fruition. I mean, we would have to hit the ground running, and
Well, well, I'm not gonna, start prophesying doom.
no,
We don't know.
right,
We don't know who's gonna walk
Yeah,
through the door.
Bobby,
right.
Bobby, Bobby, Bobby.
No, I mean, to me, that's an extreme position. We don't know. That's the
No,
thing.
we don't.
It's disconcerting. It's
Very.
destabilizing, but it's not. It doesn't have to be a step backwards. It doesn't have to be at all. Um, but we could have done without it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, let's catch up with what we have. If we come back to the panel, if Bobby has anything else to say, he joined late. He may well have something else to say. If not, we just call it a day. And here, Ty, the coach, from his own vintage bloodline. Wow. Okay, I'm not going to read that one completely. Ty, no, I'm not. Just leave me alone, please. And Vic here is saying Nani was the first to appreciate Poch. We all thought he hated him. Lesson learned that don't just you can say how what am I trying to say? Don't speculate based on what you see. Uh, Try to at least to be as factual as possible. Don't you can say just see whatever you hear from the media that the coach doesn't like a certain player, benches a certain player for a certain reason. Don't just believe it because we don't know what's going on there. We can only speculate. So yeah, that's a huge lesson there. The Jackson and Palmer with a touching both with a touching message, both of them really. Yeah, Kukurea too. Kukurea message was suspect. I'm not sure. I don't. You can say I didn't read so much into it. I just read it and moved on from there. The injury problem had a lot to do with why he was being sacked. Possibly, I've heard people say that freezing out some young
No,
players, even
he is not sacked.
when
He is not sacked.
he
He is
wasn't
not sacked.
sacked. Yeah, yeah, just that correction there. He wasn't sacked. When there were no other options, Jackson was at AFCON and no one saw Washington. Yeah, after the injuries and everything, Wow, some argument right there. What else do we have here? Some person saying Pochettino has had a huge injury record since Southampton. His training, how'd you pronounce that again? Regiment or regime? How'd you
Regiment,
pronounce it? What?
regiment.
Regiment is wild. And Kungo, Lavia, James all got injured again after being declared fit without playing a
Coachella,
single
one last time
game.
I will defend Pochettino before this show is over. One last time in this life. As far as injury records that the esteemed guest mentioned, Roger can correct me if I'm wrong. His Tottenham side there were a few instances, but largely over the 5 years were one of the fittest side, if not the fittest in the league. So this theory or this concept that it was a problem back then, no.
Narrative.
I remember very well that it was a huge plus, or Pochettino was known for keeping the squad fit. So I thought let's give him some credit right at the end.
All right. I mean, he's gone. I'm not into giving credit right now. I'm into what are we gonna do to move on and not make mistakes. By hiring the wrong person. Is Washington even good? I don't know. I don't know. We have to find out. We paid 20 million euros for him. Chances are he's good. Chances are we overestimated his capabilities. I don't know. Pot showed no leadership. How does a team not have a designated penalty taker? Wow, you're going deep. The embarrassment on the field that night goes to show why players don't pass when it's a 2 versus 1 against a goalie. Some argument, and Wally will do here saying, let's see, even pundits are saying sacking Poch is a massive mistake, but he wasn't sacked. So mutual consent means probably chances are he's the one that said, you know what, this isn't working for me.
Hmm.
You never know. You just don't know. So I'm just going to leave it at that. A lot there. I'm not going to read everything. Let me see if there's anybody here that I haven't read their comments responding to Wally Waldo, who says that there will be protests out of Stamford Bridge if they appoint a bad manager. That will not move a needle. It will not, and I'm going to say that 1,000 times. We have Kishan in the house. Kishan, let's hear you before we round up. But I'm not letting any other person in. We all have to go and rest. For me, I have to rest, do some research for tomorrow's show.
Yeah, I was surprised you guys are on. I was
Hola,
very
Kishon.
surprised. It's
I
big up
probably
to
realized you
everyone.
didn't know we were on because usually
I
we
didn't know
usually
at
don't speak
all.
at this time. Yeah.
I just clicked on YouTube and it was you guys are live. But yeah, big up to
Big up,
everyone.
Christian. Are you Poch in or Poch out?
I don't think that matters anymore.
It doesn't really.
It
But
doesn't
let's say,
matter.
what do you make of the situation and the possible replacements?
I mean, this situation is just messy. It's just messy. Like I, as far as like, I know we're gonna get linked to every manager under the sun, but like the managers we're linked to it's getting out of hand. It's kind of getting out.
Concerning, right?
Yeah, it's a bit concerning, you know. Um, this next appointment, I don't care about anything else. It's all on the directors. Like this is their job on the line for this next appointment, and the owners, it's their trust on the line. Like if they get this wrong, the fan base isn't gonna trust them. The owners got to get out. Like they have to hit the nail on the head with this. Like have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
And
no room for error.
Fabregas was at Cobham. I don't think that means anything. I've seen someone in the chat say get him for at least 6 months, and you think he would agree to leave the team he got promoted to come coach Chelsea for just 6 months? If for him to leave his current team, you'd have to hire him full time, at least a 2-year contract. Go ahead, Roger. Were you saying something?
Yeah. I was just saying that I was echoing the sentiment that there's no room for error going forward now.
Yep.
There's
Yeah,
nobody to
to be
blame.
honest,
There's
I
nobody to
believe,
hide behind. It's going straight to you. If this
but I
manager's
believe it will
bad, it's
take
going straight to the
long.
directors.
They cannot get the next appointment right. I don't think so. I think it will take a long time for this team to,
Yeah.
win something. If that is the aim.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, to
If their
win
profile
something.
is accurate, the chances of succeeding with a newcomer, a new and young, approach, the success rate for someone, what this organization will perceive as successful in order to last more than one season is diminished, in my opinion. For anyone to succeed, we stand a better chance with an elite coach. But being an elite coach doesn't fit their criteria or the parameters within their criteria. So that doesn't bode well for me. Just my opinion.
And it's concerning, really. It's
Yeah,
seriously
I think
concerning.
I think we're going to be uh, the chances of us looking for a new coach around Christmas time is not that far fetched if we're going to bring someone in that's new, young,
Yeah,
etc. That's what it doesn't bode well for stability going forward,
I
which is
agree
what
with
worries
I
me.
agree with that 100%. But I agree with that. But then we look at the market for every other team; they're going through the same thing. That like just the market for these managers, they're all just young and like not
Sure, but
proven
but
at all.
but
And
this will be Enzo's what fourth or fifth coach
yeah,
in the last year and a half. How many other
it's crazy.
Premier League team can say that?
It's insane.
Mention Enzo. I think if the owners want to build around Enzo, I could be wrong. It just came to my mind. Then they should get Allegri. Enzo will be a perfect player under
Hmm.
Allegri.
Oh no, no, I don't want Allegri here at
I don't think
all.
just
Keep
about
him
just
away,
Or
please.
sorry,
he's kind of
Please
yeah.
keep him away.
Sarri would do well with this team.
yeah,
In in Enzo, he has a more advanced Jorginho. He has in Casado, he has Kante. He used the way he did. Yeah, as an eight. Yeah, so I think Sarri would do well with this team, attacking and at the same time. You could say Sarri uses a very balanced approach.
I think Enzo would flourish under Sorry,
He
in
will,
my
yeah.
opinion.
He will
Yeah,
utilize him very well, yeah.
yeah. Like we see the
So
other
anybody else?
club.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like we see the other clubs, like Liverpool just got Slot, another
Yeah,
unproven,
can I?
inexperienced manager.
That's a really good
United,
point.
they're probably gonna get another inexperienced manager. Like that's just what's around right now.
That's a really good point. I wanted to mention that initially, and I forgot. I mean, had Liverpool not got Slot, I mean, how would we feel if we had acquired him? I mean, that's a very bold move. That's
Yes, you are correct. To me, it was shocking, right? At
uh,
least to me. I'm
yeah,
not like looking
ditto.
down on him, but because Liverpool, of course, they have done very well, although they won one league, but they were most of the times right there in the title race in the last week, won a
Yeah,
Champions League and many cups. So, and I'm surprised, I'm really surprised, but I believe because they made the move early, I mean, I believe they should have gone for Thomas Tuchel,
yes.
Liverpool. So I'm really surprised that they went for Slot or even Nagelsmann. I mean, but anyhow, let's see how it goes. But a good question. This is a great question because that shows we are different. Our fan base is different. Because if it were Slot, I'm sure that most of the fans, or I'm just assuming, right, would not have initially accepted him.
Oh, we would have. Yeah, it would be ugly. Yeah, so yeah, that's a really good point. I don't think this fan base is as accepting as most others. Maybe it's the expectation levels. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
But the expectation levels moving forward would, I believe, are coming down.
They're definitely diminished, in my opinion,
I,
at least for myself.
I mean, I still think we can make top four as far as like challenging for the league. No way.
No,
Well,
next year, as much as I was in the end, of course, it's not the time to give my reasons why to replace Poch. But with Poch, of course, next season would have been a, a, a good chance, a very good chance for a top four. But if we go for, let's say,
Yes,
McKenna or Vincent Company or De Zerbi, then it will be a tall ask.
I don't think so. I mean, let's see how Villa ended their season. They didn't end on good. They ended pretty shaky. They barely got top four. It's not like they ended great, you know. And again, Liverpool, we don't know what slot's gonna be. We know 1 and 2 is gonna be obviously City and probably
You're
Arsenal,
right, but then we are
but then
assuming
the
that we
other
are
two
continuing
aren't.
with this.
They're not for
Correct,
certain. The
sir.
other
But
two
you're assuming
teams.
that we will continue with this vein of form, but it could be a new setup, for players to adapt, and who knows, because they are so young, how will they connect with the new manager? I mean, these variables, so many variables, so it can
Yeah,
go
there's a lot of
anyway.
variables. Definitely. So the next manager has to watch a lot of film on the team. They have the whole year of film of these guys to go off of. It's not like, you know, so we'll see.
So, what do you think? How soon do you think we will break the news that we've acquired a new coach?
I don't think it should take too long, to be honest. It all depends on negotiations and all this talk that they weren't approaching any other manager out of respect for Pochettino. I think it's rubbish talk. If they weren't having somebody else in mind, then that would mean they're even more stupid than I thought. Um, as I've said, this is disconcerting. It'll be interesting to see who they do go for. Uh, is it a reckless move? It would appear so. I think it's rather strange. The only practical justification I can see to it is that Pochettino's contract runs out at the beginning of next year's World Club Cup. Now, if they found themselves in a situation where it's not extended, then that could be more problematic and more.
Yeah, but there's a plus
Um,
one at the end of it. They have a 1 year
yeah, but yeah,
option of
but
extending it a year.
yeah,
I
but if
don't buy that.
somebody doesn't want to be with you and you force
Sure,
your
sure,
plus one,
sure.
so I think maybe they just felt it's better to do it now than sooner than later. There is some sense in that. I mean, I'm just sort of being a bit of a devil's advocate here. There is some sense in that. Having said that, a lot depends on who else is coming through the door. I'm not keen on Deserbi, but I wasn't keen on Pochettino. So things can change. I'm quite open to success. You show yourself.
No, I
So
I hate
again,
success,
we
Bobby.
still have, just a reminder, we can agree or
Exactly.
disagree. We still have the likes of NC Flake, Mourinho, Tuchel
Look
out
at
there,
Bobby
right?
saying the obvious. Bobby,
No,
I hate
for,
success. I'm
um,
sure you know that.
I'm allergic to
Fabrizio
it, coach.
Fabrizio
Yeah,
Romano
that's the language I was looking for,
Fa-
Roger.
Fabrizio Romano did say that Flick, Mourinho, Tuchel, none of them are actually going to be
Yeah,
appointed.
I don't see that
So,
happening.
yeah, we need to get our mind off there.
So
My
sorry.
my
So this is on the board. This is on the owner. And we are going because we know that they are not going for it. So why not? Why not? I would say, right. Be ruthless if you have the aim, highest aim. I mean, at least to me, the three managers we mentioned are head and shoulders above all the new upcoming potential managers, right? So it's a
yeah.
no-brainer, at least to me.
Well,
So it shows
the
that they have a certain framework and they don't want a manager to question them or challenge them. That's how I see
not
that.
not really. They're looking at this holistically, and we need to to accept that. They're looking at it in terms of where they believe football is going. And the dynamics and the trajectory of management in football is changing. People like Xavi Alonso prove that. Um, uh, uh,
He's
uh,
the exception,
uh,
Bobby.
well, Pep Guardiola is on his last leg at Man City. I think next season is his last season,
Mm.
and he will be the last of those that generation. People like Mourinho is getting fancied less and less. Tuchel is getting fancied less and less. Even Pochettino, to some extent, although his stock is now high, Could be interesting to see who actually goes for him. Um,
Whose
People
stock
are
is high?
Pochettino. His stock is
I
very
don't
high
think
now.
so. It depends on who you speak with, because the way he finished at Chelsea, I don't think so, really.
Well, people have seen the mitigating circumstances around his season, and a lot of people have empathy for him. And there are clubs out there that will go for him. I think what I'm trying to say is that the management and the ownership, they're not just thinking of the immediate term; they are thinking long term. And long term, it seems to be that the trajectory of football management is this sort of young, innovative, new manager.
But if
Um,
that was the case, with all due respect, then they had the opportunity last year to go for Nagelsmann.
Look, I'm not speaking for them. I can't speak for them. They never went for Nagelsmann. I don't know why, to be honest. I have no idea. Maybe they had their mind made up. Maybe they had their mind made up on Pochettino. I have no idea why they didn't go for him. But what I do know is right now they are looking for that dynamic of manager, as is everybody else. I mean, Arnie Slot is the new generational type of manager. He's not that young, but he's new on the top level scene. People like the Arsenal guy. These are all sort of the next generation set of managers, and this is what they want. Rightly or wrongly, this is what they will get. So for me, right now, I think the target is firmly on the likes of Amarin, De Zerbi, and this Ipswich guy. I'm not saying it because I want to say it. I'm just saying it because I think realistically that is what they are looking at. And really, what else is out there? That's attainable. What else? Not much. There's been a lot of managers let go, but they're not necessarily available to Chelsea. Klopp won't come here. He's too affiliated to Liverpool. Um, Mourinho, well, I don't think this project is for Mourinho, to be brutally honest. I
No.
wouldn't really want to see him here because I know the sort of manager he is. Tuchel, well, he's had some bad blood with them in the past. It's unlikely they'll go back there. And what's the other one? The German guy, Hansi Flick. Well, it is said they're not looking at him, but maybe. There is no people. Chelsea fans keep saying, "Oh, this person won't." Let me tell you, there's no manager in club football that won't come to Chelsea. Not one. If they approach him, he will come. If you approach him and you give him something that is acceptable, he will come. Even Jurgen Klopp. If Chelsea go to Klopp and say, "Hey, look, we've got this project. We want to really," he'll think about it, but I'm sure he'll come. It's not a club you turn down. You understand? It's not a club. Even if you don't succeed, even if they're trigger happy, if you have Chelsea Football Club on your CV, your trajectory is high. It gives you jobs. Even AVB, as much of a disaster as he was, it was Chelsea that breathed life into the whatever managerial career he managed to summon up after he left. So it's not a job that people turn down, believe me. But these guys are looking for young, innovative, and new. Maybe that's the way to go. We'll find out.
We'll find out in a few days, really. Not in a few days, because they hired the manager, and then we'll see what they're able to do with
Yeah.
the crop of players we have. If for
I
players
don't
in
know.
development,
I
then
agree with you, Bobby. Though I'm not only
Roger, let
perplexed
me just check in.
by
Can you hear
today's
me?
announcement. Um, yeah, I'm
Who
disenchanted.
is Herve Renard? Who the hell is that? It might sound crazy. Who is that?
I couldn't tell you.
Who?
Mark Cardoso Bamfordino has
Okay, he's
said
mentioning who?
Herve
Herve Renard.
Renard. I've never heard of this guy. Who is that?
I don't know. I've never heard of the person. It could have been coaches, next door neighbors, third cousin removes postman. I have no idea.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
People
All
are
right.
going to
I think we should call it a day, except if you guys have any more questions or anything else you want us to
Yeah,
add.
I've got a
Yeah.
question for you, Coach. What's with the streaming hours? What's up with this?
No,
I
this is an
only
emergency. We streamed yesterday. We streamed the other day, even though we had issue with finish. We streamed 2 days in a row after the break.
I know
And this one we
you're
had to.
avoiding me now.
This is more like an emergency stream.
This is Michi boy type of time.
Yeah. But I knew his ended his before we started.
I saw this by pure accident. I said, "Yeah, Coach
Yeah,
is
so did
avoiding
I.
me."
So did
You see?
I.
Coach don't want us to know when
He's
he's
cheating on
streaming.
us, Bobby.
Yeah,
No,
this is just. What is this? Do you know what time it is? It's nearly 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, so
no,
we
I know.
all, I believe we all are
I
in
know.
UK.
It was
more,
just an
more
emergency stream. We should have
4:30 and it's
started.
already, it's
That's
almost
what they all say,
in
Coach.
UK.
All right.
So I have to go to work in 3 hours and I'm awake since last night. So
You're a
Yes,
bit
so
of an
Bobby,
show
amateur.
could have,
this was an emergency podcast on the
and it could
request.
have should have started earlier, right? But I had to take the wife to
Oh.
hospital for follow up.
This is the result of the mutual consensus.
How's
that
she
happened
doing?
in the-
This is baby brain, Coach, isn't it? This is you've been up feeding that baby. You just wanna worry the rest of us.
If I
Listen,
can't
let me say the
sleep,
truth
you
here.
can't sleep.
Yeah, that's it.
The issue we had 2 days ago is this: we had issues. Nobody could hear me, so I told them, "Okay, I'm fixing it." In the
That's
process
not
of
an
fixing
issue,
it, I
Coach.
dozed off on this chair and woke up that 30 to 45 minutes later, and Constantine Nante was bombarding me with messages. Are you there, Coach? What's happening?
That's not an issue, Coach.
Yeah. I know the baby woke him up, and he's like, "Right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up everybody in the Chelsea Perspective community."
Especially UK.
Yeah, I ain't doing this alone. That's what he said.
I think we'll be
Wow.
all right, man. I think it's been a good conversation because we still have to continue the conversation tomorrow. Right now, we have to follow up whatever is going on. They're in the process of finding a replacement, so we have to follow that up. Maybe we'll be mixing it up because we were going to start player ratings for the season's review. We've talked about the manager yesterday, and the question we were asking: does it deserve another season and all that? And we didn't know the owners had other plans. I think I've read that one. And Vicky is saying the sign. Okay, yeah, we've talked about that. I've sent you the link. It's actually easy to get top four. A Poch should have achieved the top four. Wow, Frank Dalco, snapped your finger and we're there. I think that could work too. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal drop off. It takes an elite mentality to go again like City. Arsenal, they're going to find it even more difficult come next season. United will be better. Tottenham will be better if Postecoglou changes a bit and not be too stubborn.
I don't see that happening. Just don't.
We learned the hard way, right?
Wake up and we have Postecoglou linked with us.
It's not happening. I'm glad we didn't sign him because after that game we play against them, he had 10 yellow cards and still playing a high line with only the goalkeeper. That was when we knew he's in trouble. I won't be surprised if Arsenal drop off. I think we've addressed that one. And Tango Rido, nice to see you again. I hope you're doing well. I only accept if it's only who? Sebastian Hunes over McKenna or Thomas Frank. I don't want Thomas Frank really. But what are you saying, Ty? He resigned today, so what are you saying? You joking, right? He retired today, so why RIP?
No, he retired, I believe.
So, is it you're saying happy retirement to him? I'm not sure. Did you see anything, Ty, that we haven't seen? God forbid, please.
No,
yeah, exactly the same
so.
question I've asked. So. I think with that, we've come to the natural end of the show. Mark Cardozo, sorry, I can't read everything you have there, but let me try and read this one. He's won the African Cup. Was that the coach you were suggesting that Bobby was asking who the heck is the coach? Okay, give him a chance maybe. But thank you all of you. It's been an excellent discussion. Honestly, I have to say. Renard managed Morocco, Saudi Arabia, and and now the French women's national team. Good suggestion. Let's give it a shot. It will work. Yeah, please let's go and sleep. I want to say thank you to Tango. I appreciate you. Ty, as the CEO of Chelsea Sessions, I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular evening. I nearly said morning again. Vic, what's the buzz? And cousin, nice to see you. I appreciate you. To all of you, if I missed your name, apologies. I'm only human. Thank you to Roger. Thank you to Bobby. Thank you to Keishan. Thank you to Jerry Z. And if I missed your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all. And cheers.
Good night, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make.